match. Canada was, yeah, Debo had a couple saves, but Canada's just too innocent for a team that's a world champion. And Messi, you know what? It's the age and playing MLS.
Yeah.
He's not getting challenged in MLS,
You think
and
he's
it's
losing his
starting.
sharpness, his hunger for the game?
Well, it's a combination of two things. I mean, the age. I mean, it happens to the best of them, but like I said it a million times before. I think orange cones put better resistance than MLS defenders. I mean, that's what that's what it is. It's a combination of two things.
Yeah, that's true for sure. Defending MLS leaves a lot to be desired, but it's designed on purpose.
Oh, it's by design. Like I said before. I mean, somebody within MLS said that the teams are heavily encouraged to spend their designated player money on attackers, not defenders. So there you
Yeah.
go.
I'm looking at the official scoreline. They really did give Messi that goal. Pathetic, man. It's like all he did was hit it accidentally, and it's all of a sudden a goal that's going to go to his name, and they can mark off the checkbox that says he scored from play and not from a set piece or a PK. But
Uh-huh.
honestly, I knew Argentina was going to make the final since they announced this tournament, since I saw the bracket, and like,
Oh, it's the Messi Argentina party. I mean, isn't it funny? I was seeing a video that the AFA has offices in Miami. So come on.
yeah, yeah, the AFA,
Yeah.
yeah, they're building their nest here in the States, and Messi is definitely part of that. I wonder how much of his influence he'll be able to expand and get him playing Copa Libertadores, because I know that's what the people want in South America.
Oh, and it's gonna be interesting if they allow him to do that. Then you're gonna have your people like Ron, who are big, of getting Mexican teams back in Libertadores. It's the outcry from that crowd is gonna be interesting.
Mira, senor, I don't like being compared to Ron because, first of all, I don't like having dick in my mouth.
Oh,
But there's no
Oh,
way that a U.S. team gets invited into Libertadores and Mexico doesn't get to at least send one team.
hey, but it's not a U.S. team. It's Messi.
you never know, man.
I know. Well,
Messi could
that's
be
the
playing for the
problem.
fuck.
Like,
Messi
but
could be playing for the fucking Timbers, and
but at that point, then what's the excuse, right? Like, why isn't that Mexico can't go, right? Like, what excuse do you have? You don't have none.
We'll see what happens. We
He's
do have
Argentinian.
we have a new speaker, Don. Welcome to the show. How'd you enjoy the semifinal between Canada and Argentina? Any thoughts?
I was only able to watch half of the half, and I was only able to see Messi's goal. I know you said, hey, it shouldn't count as a goal. He touched it, so it's declared a goal. Stats, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, he just happened to be in the way, obstructing the goalkeeper, and he'll get credit for that. But really, looking at Argentina and their path to the final, Canada was in their group. That was the first match. They won 2-0, and it was very similar. Canada had a lot of energy, just couldn't put any chances away. Then they had a game against Chile, handled business, and then finished up with Peru. They got out of a pretty accessible group. In the quarterfinals, let's be honest, Ecuador made them sweat. They tied the game at the very last minute, went straight to PKs because that's how they're doing it. And, Ecuador, another team that just didn't want to win. They were terrible at executing their PKs. And Argentina gets the semi against Canada again. I don't understand that bracket.
It's the messy cooking. They should have fucking switched around
Yeah.
the bracket like they do in the World Cup and stuff like that. But it's fucking, it's fucking the messy show. So
It's
it is what it is.
disgusting. It's like, wait, you're not gonna put them on the other bracket where it's a little bit more competitive?
Or they could have faced, Uruguay or or Colombia.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
would have
not
lost
Brazil.
against both of them too. So
That's exactly it. Now, hold on. Since we're putting on our tinfoil hats and we're cooking now, right? Let's talk about this. All right. There's something that happened. If you guys watched the last game between Ecuador versus Canada,
A ver.
right? The officiating was absolutely shit, right? Like
Has
it
been.
it hasn't just one sided, dude. It was like Comebol versus Canada, right? And one of the things that's always been said, and I've always said it, and I've been very vocal about this, is that funny things happen in Comebol when CONCACAF starts doing well. Take, for example, Libertadores, las finales del América, right? How they changed the rule at halftime. Where, oh, wait, ahora el gol de visitante cuenta. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So, Comebol doesn't like us winning their trophies. And it was
remember
very
that final with
obvious.
Mexico and Colombia in 2001, where they just they stabbed Mexico in the back repeatedly.
Oh
There
yeah.
you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, man. There's a long history about it. And if you watch the last game, dude, the refs were doing everything possible to make sure that Ecuador won. Right? It was fucking nasty. It was to the point where I was watching it and it was like, no mames, way. Like, how the fuck are you even calling these? How is this even, like, why isn't it being called out by I was watching it in English and it was being called out, but I was like, how is this not being called out by the
You
Mexican
talking
media?
about the quarterfinal of Venezuela game? Canada?
What, yeah, wasn't it Ecuador?
No, it was Venezuela.
Okay, my bad. Venezuela. You know what? All their flags fucking look the same, all right? Like, let's start off there. They all sing praises to the same motherfuckers, so whatever. They're all the same goddamn flag. So that was happening, and it was just fucking disgusting, dude.
Even today, there was.
Even today, exactly. That's what happens. That's why, like, Ron and all these other fucking idiots who are always out there like, oh, we need to go back. We need to go to Comebol. We need to do this. They don't want us there. All right?
They want the
This is
money.
the way we're treated. Yeah. So what?
They
Go
don't
from
want
being a
us anywhere.
whore
They
somewhere
want the
else to
money.
being a whore some.
They want the
like-
money as attached to us, but they don't want us.
Then you know what? That's why I respect hood rats, all right? The ones that stay at home and fuck all the homies in their block, those are the ones to respect, not the ones that try to go out and, like, make it elsewhere. All right? Like, be true to your roots, whore yourself out for what you own, for your own fucking block. That's why the talk of, like, oh, we should leave CONCACAF. No seas pendejo, güey. Like, no mames. So it's those type of things. So the fact that Canada made it this far, was able to put in this type of performance, I'm proud of it. I'm impressed by them. In fact, I was thinking as the game was wrapping up, yeah, they got their shit pushed in. Yes, he was obstructing the goalie. There was all these issues. The black hand of Comebol coming in. But for what we're seeing, and if Jesse Marsh stays at the helm of Team Canada, bro, they're going to be interesting to watch in the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. If anything, their project is looking more solid and stable at the moment than both Mexico and the U.S. Because the U.S. is about to fire Greg Berhalter, right? Mexico, I think Jimmy survives, bro, but they're about to squeeze on them nuts. Like, he's not going to have much freedom. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. Canada is who we need to watch out for.
I got a question for everyone here. Thanks for everyone joining us on Twitter Spaces and, of course, YouTube. How much preparation do you need anticipating a World Cup to get your shit together? Because the World Cup, thank God, is only, 2-3 games? I think this one's only going to be 2 games because it's going to be like 38 groups of 2 or some shit. Like, what I mean? There's going to be expansion of 48 teams. So, like, how much time do you need to prepare for this World Cup? I think it's a knockout tournament after guaranteed 2 or 3 fixtures. And after that, it's a different strategy. So, I think Mexico has plenty of time to turn things around. The problem is like who's gonna take him there, because it damn sure ain't gonna be Jimmy.
We need more than 4 years and another team. We need more time.
We need more time. We got 2 years. I think that's
Well-
plenty of time.
Look, right now, this
To
is
get
the
out of the
goal.
group stage.
This is the goal. Have a decent fucking World Cup. Get out, like you said, get out of the group stage. And I think there's going to be a round of 32. Get out of the round of 32. Then get out of the round of 16. And then it's par for the course.
Hey, I don't know if this been talked between you guys
Sure.
before, but what are your guys' thoughts of going directly to PKs or extra time?
Oh,
Hold on, espérame.
All right.
Before we get too far.
I will answer that, but yeah, go ahead.
Here's the deal. The question stands on what type of football do you want to watch versus how much time do you need? Because Morocco's did it with 3 months. I believe it was like 3 months
That's
before
what
the
I'm
World
saying.
Cup.
That's
Where
exactly
they
what I'm
changed
saying.
it. But what type of football did they play?
It
They
doesn't
didn't
matter,
play-
bro. Look how far they got.
So that's the
Exactly.
question. That's the
Exactly.
question. What do you want? Do you want bunker ball? Do you want no fucking style? Just grind it and make it? Then
Hey,
yes,
well,
all
you're
that
a
you need is about, fuck it, dude. Why don't we, let's be honest, a month and a half.
When you're a small team like Mexico, fuck it, bunker ball. At this point of the game, fuck it, bunker ball. Don't fuck it. That's why you
I
get
don't think
Aguirre.
so. I don't think
Mexico
so.
started complaining.
You
Mexico
get
will not be
Aguirre,
happy
you go
doing
bunker
that,
ball.
bro.
Fuck it.
No, porque hay maneras de perder, güey. Y perder así,
Dude, it all
no
depends on the
mames.
team. Anyway, si estamos
Like,
jugando
let's-
contra una Argentina, obviously we're going to play some bunker ball. Pero si estamos jugando con a weaker side, obviously we're going to be the offensive team.
Here's the problem though. Mexico is very, very uncomfortable when they don't have possession. That's just how we play ball. We're used to being the one that
makes
has
sense,
most of the possession, and we don't know how to play any other way.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And let's be honest, bro. So you mean to tell me that not even Mexican media, just Mexican fans in general, are going to be happy watching a Mexico who's getting their shit pushed in on purpose for a full, let's call it 60 out of a full 90?
I think if this team
No.
pulls off a Morocco, nobody would fucking care at the end, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I
If
think
it
they-
I
gets
think
to
they
the
would.
semifinals, I don't think anybody would complain.
Anybody, yeah, fuck. Like when
Look-
they beat Argentina,
Yeah.
in 2004, fucking La Volpe was playing fucking bunker ball, and everybody fucking was happy.
And look at like Juan Cambios Osorio, right? Everybody hated his style and hated the fact that he didn't have the same lineup twice. And I would say 2/3 of the World Cup, it was very impressive what he was able to accomplish. Once you get into that third game against Sweden, then Brazil, it's different. But everybody
But it was also that one game where he didn't make the changes. It was the only game where he repeated the lineup.
And everybody,
so therefore, they knew what was coming.
The whole qualifiers bitching and moaning. We fucking qualified caminando, like such a stress-free qualifier, and everyone complained the whole fucking time. So I think it doesn't matter what Mexico ends up doing. Like, people will complain either way.
When La Volpe, the same. Fucking La Volpe fucking goes walking, and they wanted to fucking fire him after every fucking game.
I can just imagine the media now saying things like "fútbol ratonero," "fútbol de cobardes."
Yeah.
If we played the style that Coca was trying to implement, because that's basically his bread and butter. Bunker down, play pragmatic, 3 at the back, and he was eaten alive.
Yeah.
I think if we tried to revert that, there would be like a lot of bumps in the process.
The problem with Coca though is he got his shit pushed in against USA.
Yeah,
He
he got
did,
fucking handled.
He's going against the grain. He's changing the very essence, the ethos of Mexican football, and he didn't live to see that, come into fruition. And I don't think anyone, bar a superstar, would live to see that come into fruition. So
But with Coca too, I don't think the players liked him. I don't think there was there was infighting with the political struggle, and from the get go, I don't think he had anybody's trust.
And
I
let's
think
not
that's
forget,
irrelevant.
at that point in time, all of Mexico hated RGs.
Oh,
Right? We hated
Yeah.
Argentinians
Especially
more
after
than
what Tata did
anything.
to us. Yeah.
After what Tata did, to this day, Mexicans still hate
Oh,
Argentinians.
yeah, absolutely.
One of the things, dude. Okay, so are you telling me that bunker ball is now the new Mexican
I'm
style?
not saying it's the.
It's
It's
not.
an emergency. It's, you know, break the glass.
But no mames, wait. What the fuck are you breaking the glass for?
No, I would say
There's no fucking talent on the pipeline. You're fucking. They're thinking of fucking bringing Fidalgo because you don't have a fucking creativo. It's fucking bad.
Ves, wait, that type of shit is the ones that let Cortés right into the fucking temples.
See, here's the problem, and this is the reason why I don't think Mexico can pull off bunker ball. Because look, this is what they tried to do against Argentina, and what happened? They did not.
But
They did
that
not.
was just fucking.
They did a great 45 minutes, right? And Argentina claims that we were the most difficult team in the whole World Cup, but we did not capitalize or generate any offense, and that's the part. Like, you can't just bunker just a bunker and not have at least
but
like at least a killer finisher. We didn't have one.
But he didn't play with a finisher. He played with fucking two wingers
Well,
up top. That was
we don't
fucking
have
horrible.
a killer finisher. That's
Dude,
the truth.
I said it last week. Línea de cinco. We do really fucking good with línea de cinco.
Yeah,
Let me
but we
ask
don't
you
have
guys
any
one
fucking
thing.
strikers.
Let me ask
Striker
one
pull it
thing.
off.
How many teams were playing bunker ball in the last World Cup or any last tournament? How many played bunker ball and how many were successful? You know, when you're playing bunker ball, it's a flip of a coin. It could work out or it won't. You know, more often than not, it doesn't. And we remember teams that work out, like Costa Rica a couple years ago and Morocco
Greece.
this last World Cup, Greece. But like, what have they gone? Like they don't maintain consistency because, you know, you need a lot of luck in order for that to pan out.
But
That style to
every
pan
now
out.
and then you get the, you know, I think of 98, right? You had Turkey. Oh, wait, no, that was 2002. Sorry. You had Croatia 98, Turkey in 2002, Korea, I think, too, went pretty deep on those. Like, there's always like that one team that miraculously gets to the semis that.
Yeah, Korea got helped. Bulgaria 94.
Yeah, and then you have Morocco in the most recent one, right? Like, how? So it's like, it's just one of those things. Like, holy shit, you know?
just get hot. It's teams just get hot with a good fucking goalie. You just you grind out results and fucking it's like. But then how come Mexico can't have one of those fucking runs? You know?
Yeah. To answer Don's question, because he brought up a good point. How do you feel about extra time PKs? I want, and I might be a minority here, I want golden goal to return. We only had it for a very short time.
That was the best.
1994 to 2002, golden goal. El next goal wins. El gol gana. And you know what? I know that there was a lot of upsets. I know there was a lot of strategy around that because you bunker bowl for 90 minutes and then you score and then you get through. It's dirty, it's nasty, but it's exciting, and it makes, because like what happens in overtime is everybody wants to get to PKs. So it's like fuck that, dude. Like, no, you have to be always on edge, and any chance could end up being your elimination. And
it was more exciting.
Living on that edge is much better than whatever the fuck we're doing right now with the whole overtime. I'm glad that Copa America went straight to PKs. Like, those extra 30 minutes, they're not doing anyone a favor.
That's CONMEBOL has been doing. I remember watching the fucking the Copa America in the 90s. That's how it's been. CONMEBOL's MO. They skip. I remember Mexico beating Peru in the PKs in '99. They just even Libertadores. They just skip the tiempos extras and they just go straight to the PKs, which is cool. But like you said, it would be cool if we had the golden goal at least in the World Cup. It's like I hear some soft people saying, "Oh, it's a fucking cruel way." Nah, it's not fucking cruel. It's fucking exciting.
Yeah.
And you know what? It saves legs. So and in some cases avoids fucking going the full 120.
You know what? I'm really happy that you bring that up because that's my argument against it. If you couldn't close out a game in a full 90, fuck you. Go out and earn it. Go out and fight for it. And you know what? And if then you still fucking fall short and your legs are dead, then you go for PKs. Because you know what? The team on the bracket right under you that was able to finish out their game in their 90, they deserve to go and push your shit in because you weren't able to close out your game. You deserve to be more tired. You deserve to have a disadvantage.
You deserve to get cut by America in a final. Yeah, we understand, bro.
Hey, sometimes shit happens, right? And you get punished for it. And that's what should happen in big boy tournaments.
You guys lost to Pachuca that way.
So my criticism of this new rule is that it's not conducive to playing football. You know, it rewards teams that are, you know, playing football ratonero, that are bunkering down.
Bro.
And I want to see good football. I want to see good football.
You're not going to see that. You haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in Copa America. Have you seen good football in Copa America apart from Uruguay and Colombia?
Sir, did you not watch the last Canada game?
I did not.
Yeah, Canada versus Venezuela was also good.
Canada versus Venezuela was a fucking beautiful game, guys.
You're right. But I think that's the exception. Like the game's been pretty shit for both Euros and Copa America.
Terrible.
On like this year, and I think it's because teams are playing too much.
That too.
So there's another issue, like someone brought up earlier, that like teams, there's so many games in a year that everyone's tired, and so like the easiest thing is to bunker down.
What was it like?
Did you guys go for it?
Today in the France game, they said one of the players had 90 games on him this fucking year. Yeah,
Rodri had over 90 games like in a calendar year, and he had only lost like 5. It was like an insane amount that he had only lost like a couple of ones out of all the 90 games.
And there's going to be more next year with the expansion of the FIFA Club World Cup.
That's right.
So there's just going to be more. They're just compounding more and more and more. But like, you know, with the substitutions and squad expansion, we might see like, you know, more players get game time, which is another good thing. But yeah, like too many games.
We need to do what hockey does and allow people to have unlimited substitutions.
They do that for futsal. They do that for lines. And I love
substitute lines.
Did you guys catch that press conference Marcelo Bielsa was giving? He exactly pointed out that exact point that you guys are saying, that the players play so many games, and then when they come to international play, most of them don't have legs to you know, play the whatever style they're trying to play.
That's why, man. That's why we'd be doing them a favor by either going straight to PKs or golden goal. And, you know, it goes back to Cascaritas, man. It didn't matter what the score was. No one really kept scoring. It was always like, all right, it's getting really hot. We're both tired. El gol gana. And that's when everybody was like, oh, fuck yeah, here we go, you know? And you would talk shit until the next week, until the next Cascarita. Oh, you guys were losing the whole game. You guys pulled that bullshit and won the game. Yeah, but who won? And that's the type of shit that, like, you know, we need to go back to. And the Golden Goal does that.
Next thing you guys know, they're only going to want to play 30-minute halves. That's the best football.
I don't know, man. Next thing you know, también, these motherfuckers are going to start talking about taking MLS-style PKs.
Oh, I actually like the shootout. I think that'd be very interesting.
It was fun.
It was very hockey-like.
¿Ves? Y hablar de pendejos, ahí están.
No, because we're... all right, dude. You look at some of these penalty run-ups, and they're basically a fucking shootout. They be doing that stutter step.
The Kings League.
I haven't seen Kings League. How do they do it?
Así yo creo que, I'm sorry, they do the whole shootout style.
Yeah, they do the shootout. They do the run up.
That's cool.
Well, it's a little field.
I see. You know, I was looking at the Copa America attendance, and Mexico sold out 2 out of their 3 games. Ecuador, Venezuela, but they did not sell out Mexico versus Jamaica in Houston. That was their first game. They still sold 53,000 tickets. But I think if you look at the attendance, this has been a very successful Copa America, probably more successful than if it had been done in South America, especially on the revenue side of things.
That's what I was going to ask you. Have they given official numbers of how much money they got?
I have no idea.
They haven't. Okay.
Honestly, the only lemon I'm looking at some of the attendance, there was some pretty bad ones. The worst one being Bolivia, Panama, 12,000 fans. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That Ecuador Venezuela was pretty bad too in Santa Clara, I believe.
Just under 30K. Yeah. And then surprisingly, Colombia, Costa Rica, 27,000. So those are some of the lowest attending games in Copa America, but everything else, How many
The
people?
first Uruguay game didn't do too hot either.
Uruguay, Panama, yeah.
But all right, let's be honest about this. How much did fucking tickets cost, dude?
Oh, they were
For
expensive.
certain games, the most expensive games were about like $500.
They're so expensive that they started charging the media for food.
Well,
It's-
fucking $28
No
for
way.
$28 for a fucking PB&J.
Bro. Yeah, for those like covering the
I love
match.
PB&J.
Yeah. I think that this will go down as a successful Copa America, especially if Argentina get their way. We'll see if Bielsa has something to say about that tomorrow. I honestly think that they will get through Colombia. As much as everyone likes Colombia, I think Uruguay has been the superior team in this tournament. And how uncomfortable will that be for Bielsa having to play against his country in a final? Has he done that before?
He doesn't care. He
doesn't care.
just wants his team.
He's
Whatever
soulless.
team he's in, he fucking gives it his all.
Oh, yeah?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He's like La Volpe.
Yeah.
No, don't compare him with La Volpe.
Ah, come on, it's not much of a
La
difference.
Volpe.
What the
Bielsa's
fuck
not
has
getting
Bielsa done?
massages from
What has
from
Bielsa
Chivas
done? What has
therapists.
Bielsa done? Come on.
Well, he
Bielsa's
won
not that
the-
off. Fucking
he
Bielsa
won the-
fucking, the only World Cup he went to, fucking first round, fucking got grouped. Come on.
He
At least
won a
fucking,
medal with
at least
Argentina
fucking
and Messi.
La Volpe made it out the first round.
So he's got a gold medal. He won the Argentine League a few times.
He's
Got
a-
Leeds
he's a-
promoted.
He won
I
the
think La
championship.
Volpe's up there with him.
He won the championship with Leeds. That's massive.
You know, he brought on Chile's golden generation. He's actually like this really like revered coach, like, you know, for his school of
Well,
thought.
he's polarizing. I mean, they revere him, and others like me say he's overrated.
He's a cult hero, but yeah, he might be a little overrated. You know, one thing I really liked about him that I just recently found out is that he answers everyone's question in the media's room. Doesn't matter who you are.
That's
You know,
true.
if you have a question for him, he answers
Oh, he's
you.
a cool guy. He's a
Yeah,
cool guy.
like,
I said
he's
hello to
super
him
interesting.
at a game at the Coliseum. I was working that game, and I shook his hand. It was a classy guy.
And
Talking
then he's
Bielsa
got,
or La
like,
Volpe?
Bielsa.
And
Okay.
you've got like crazy stories. Like if you ever listen to how he discovered Pochettino as a player, it's like the oddest thing. He traveled like miles and miles to see him, and then when he got there, he was asleep, and so he asked his mom to show him his legs, and then he said, "Oh, those are a footballer's legs," and then he left and he signed him. Like some absolutely weird shit.
You
know?
think he asked for his legs?
Yeah, and he was one of the first guys to like really implement video footage, like constantly looking at replays at how teams play. And back then it was a lot harder in like the late 80s, early 90s. You really had to have like VHS, like thousands upon thousands of VHS tapes. and he was like the first guy to like really implement that to his game plan in the soccer world. So he's brought a lot of good to the soccer world. And but he's kind of, you know, hit and miss. You know, that's why he's called a loco.
Yeah, that guy is obsessive, but he's in a good way.
Did we ever find out if he actually called up that that guy that was playing in the Llano? Remember that? I can't remember.
Luciano.
There was a guy. Huh?
His first name was Luciano Fernandez or something like that.
There
but
you go.
called
Did
him
he
up
ever?
for the friendlies? Only for the friendlies.
Gotcha. Okay. I was looking at the roster. I was like, I can't remember his fucking name. Got it.
Yeah, he did call him up. I think he was he played against Mexico or no? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think he played the following game.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Some breaking news, according to records, so take it with a grain of salt, but they do say that there was something about females in the concentration camp for the Mexican national team. Color me
Hey, wait,
shocked.
Joel is gonna say that's fake news. Where's the proof?
No, that's fake news.
No, wait, he's gonna-
I was
He's
gonna
like,
say that
no,
they're called companions, girlfriend.
No way. Where's their
One thing is,
passports?
it's
Where the fuck are their
No.
passports?
Que
one
no
thing is,
saben, they're
no,
independent contractors.
no sean mamones, no
1099s.
sean, no sean mamones. One thing is current national team compared to semi-pro amateur era national team. Way different, man. But I like the fan fictions you guys have with all this money flowing around to get these things done. No, I that's something I want to look into now. Start digging in, trying to find old articles because I never really remember hearing any news of the national team debauchery like going back to the 90s. I know it was more controlled because with social media now, it's like anyone, like it's easier to get caught doing stuff. Yeah, and the earliest I remember was it was a youth World Cup, like I think under 20. It was with Rafa Marquez, and
Oh, it's
they beat
99, yeah.
yes. See, I knew you were gonna know. And I hope you know this part because now I'm beginning to think like, am I the only one that saw this? So they beat Argentina, which Argentina was like one of the favorites to win it. And they beat Argentina, and it was a really good game. And then they go up against Japan. And if you see both games, it's like night and day. And you'll think like, is Japan really that good? Because Mexico just got washed. Like they didn't look like they belonged there. And to me, I felt like these players look very sluggish, right? Anyways, Spain wins that one. Spain had like a really good team as well. I don't know if they had Javi and Iniesta. They probably did. Anyways, Spain goes on to win it. They just I think they murdered Japan. Correct me if I'm wrong, Al.
Mate, we're talking about hookers in San Diego. Where is this story going?
This I'm saying is the first time. So La Opinión took out an article that in the match previous to Japan, they were partying with hookers. And this was the World Cup. I think it was in Nigeria. And,
it was Nigeria. Yeah.
And La Opinión took it out. And now I need you to like be on this if you remember. FMF tried to like sue La Opinión. And I think La Opinión was like, well, we got receipts, bring it. And the story kind of never went more from there.
I think the reporter was Rafa Villagrana. I think that's the guy that
okay. They broke the news.
Yeah, he was already working with Opinion. Yeah.
He was Opinion. He would do the Opinion columns.
Yeah, he did all kinds of fucking scoops and shit like that. Yeah.
It would be good to hit him up because he's on Twitter and see if.
Bro, tiene sus fuentecitas. You guys should listen to some of his older podcasts, dude. There's some.
Oh, I have.
There's a lot of gold in there.
Yeah, but he also said that fucking. I remember he also said that Osvaldo was going to play for Barcelona, and that was fucking bullshit.
But no one hits 100 there.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
That to me, 99 was the first time I heard like something to that extent. But previous, I'm trying to think.
And then I remember it really came to head around 2009 with what's the name? When one of the De La Torres was in charge. There was a bunch of shit.
No, but we gotta go. We gotta go further back though. We gotta go further back though, because by that time it was already the corruption had set. 98, you saw some things, but it was like with some of the players, but it was more like on the day off. That's when who was it? Who was the two guys holding hands from America?
For America? The two guys
in
America?
They were with the Mexican national team and
that was that was Palencia and it was a 98 Palencia and Conejo fucking around with the Tabasteca people.
No, it was man.
No, it was Palencia and Conejo. Yeah, they were fucking around with the Tabasteca people. They started holding hands.
I don't know about Palencia with them painted fingers.
It was two Cruz Azul guys, for sure.
It was Cruz Azul de
Eran los de la América.
Right. See,
I
it
don't
was
remember
Davino,
America.
I think, and some
Was it
other
there?
guy. But
No, then I
but I
remember in
mean,
2005 when they had that scandal. They had said that originally it was that they had caught that it wasn't a doping. It was that Galindo and Carmona were caught having relations, and those were one of the rumors that came out. And eventually
with
it became
Marquez'
doping.
wife.
Pinche
Marcus, what?
chismoso, güey.
Le
Mirabas
pasó el
ventaneando,
teléfono.
¿verdad, güey?
It was with Marquez. Marquez had a
Because
wife that was like she had been with some other players before.
that one's
Wow.
well known. That one was Pati Chapoy, who gave those news for TV Azteca, right? Because that hot news didn't break anywhere in the sports world. It broke on Ventaneando, which is a gossip show on Azteca 7, on Azteca 13.
Wow. Qué bien que te recuerdas.
¿Sabes qué, güey? Porque si escuchas reporteros del Tri, they talked about it.
Yeah, it was the thing. But I mean, going back, like you know, 90s, you kind of a lot of the stuff wasn't really heard of. And going back to 94.
Man, we're talking about the
No,
like.
but we're talking about when the
I want to
national
talk
team
about this
started
most
being
recent
like,
news, bro.
We're talking about hookers, bro. I don't know where we're going about facts. Like,
because we're saying
What does that have to do with
this team became like that? Because
I get it.
I
I
know
get
you guys
it.
like to think that it's always been, but it's like not really.
Here's a question for both of you, Albert and Joel. So it is well known that in the Olympic Games they hand out condoms. Do the World Cup or FIFA, do they hand out condoms as well?
They
I don't
hand out lube.
Shit, I never heard that. No,
I don't.
never heard.
Why
that.
would they if it's all men?
Wait, so
Olympics,
wait,
it's- Olympics
No,
is like
the
men and
Olympics-
women.
The thing with the Olympics is that they don't want them fucking in the Olympic Village. Like
that's it, the Olympic Village. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
But
want
come
they
on.
don't want them fucking.
Yeah, I was gonna
If
say
they're
that
handing them
Olympics
out,
is the
most
village.
likely they're fucking in the Olympic Village. Come on.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what it is. That's how
but they have those.
I've heard it because they are
special
doing it
beds
in the
now.
village.
They
But
have those beds now, those special beds where if it's over 200 pounds, the bed collapses.
Oh my
But that was only for
god.
COVID.
damn, well, they don't need the bed, man.
What?
No, but the difference with football is everyone has their own. You know, everyone's concentrated in their own.
No,
they
I
have
think
their
the
own
difference is that you're
rooms.
not tempted because it's all men, dude. If it was like the Olympics where it's
Wait,
literally
bro,
women
so those
and
It's not a man. There's a bunch of women
Bro,
waiting. Yeah.
Salcido.
No.
All I gotta say is Salcido.
Salcido doesn't care, dude. No, but people find out where the teams are staying at, and there's like a bunch of fans just surrounding the hotel.
Like I heard
Yeah.
rumor,
There's groupies
I heard a
everywhere, right?
rumor. Huh?
Yeah, there is. I've seen it. A lot of all type of groupies, not just women, guys too. Like
Oh no.
trying to hunt down
You get all kinds of
pictures or autographs. Yeah. So you always have and they're just camping out there, like they're just waiting. They'll be there for hours.
Like Mexico and Brazil when they had the homeboy get a bunch of Brazilian hookers and then they got robbed by them. You know, like
that happened to the Copa America team in 2011.
Bella and
That
friends.
wasn't. Where was that? No, where was that? Where was that World Cup?
That was in Ecuador.
That was in Argentina. That Copa America was in Argentina.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Argentina. Yeah.
That's 11, but I think it was the one after. But I remember that the reason they got caught was because they complained.
They snitched.
The players
they got
complained
robbed.
out there.
They're like, oh yeah, they stole all our stuff.
Yeah.
Who did?
Okay. It wasn't at the Copa America. It was before the Copa America. It was in a trip in Ecuador or something like that.
In Quito, yeah.
Yeah, it was in Quito. Yeah.
Yeah, they all.
They should have called Caviedes, dude. You saw the Caviedes commercial?
But anyways, bringing it back to this latest gossip, are you guys surprised by Mexico's performance now after having light on this issue of them bringing girls to the concentration camp?
I don't think it makes a difference. I bet all fucking teams do it. So.
I think it does make a difference.
I think it shows a lack of leadership on Jimmy's part, where he's not willing to, reprimand this type of behavior.
Bro, he's probably the one that initiated it. He's like,
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
weak leadership.
He's probably the one that said, "You know what, man? I'm stressed out.
like-
Let me."
It was like,
You
I
know
got
what?
first
I want
dibs,
to
he
take. I
said.
want to
He
take it
picked
back a
the
little. I want to
focus.
take it back a little bit. In 2009, I heard what's the name of the De La Torre that was the president of the Mexican national team?
Nestor.
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 Nestor,
I heard Nestor fucking getting in get with face about about Televisa reporting that the players were girls, and he straight up told him, "Hey, si quieren andar con putas y relajarse, déjenlos, no lo tienen que andar anunciando." Like straight up like that, told him. So I think
I mean,
the
shit,
players,
he's
the
not
players ended
wrong.
up booting him though.
So I mean, it's I don't. To me, it's like whatever. They're guys. They're guys, and they're fucking away from.
But I think
And they're
some
away.
players can get away with it, some can't.
Didn't Romario say he would always have sex before a game that would relieve his stress?
Yeah,
there's right.
But see, this is the argument. I know, but this is the argument I've always had. It's like you have players that can get away with that. They do whatever they have to do, even if it's performing enhancement drugs. But some players can get away with it
Some can't.
because it's not. Hold on. It's not just the physical; it's the mental as well. Because a lot of these dudes are married or have girlfriends, and they're cheating. And some dudes, they don't give a fuck. They don't care, and they'll smash us. And some other dudes, it might affect them. They'll be like, "Oh fuck, you know what I do."
You know what I mean?
They wake up the next day with a weird itch, and it's like, "Oh shit."
No, this is what I call it. I call it the HH effect.
Yeah.
In the 86 World Cup,
You don't know the HH effect? Don't you remember cuando tuvo que irse de la concentración con su wife?
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot that. I was thinking his surgeries and GQ and all that. So I was like, yeah, he did. He did. A couple of them. A bunch of them have been caught, with this because of media. But and the players just being stupid because they see people with phones, and it's like, doesn't it register, man, that they're on social media, even putting where they're at, like location and all that.
Yeah.
Dude, can I throw a fan theory to you guys? Esa vez, HH didn't do anything, but he still got in trouble. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, probably. Switching gears, want to cover the other tournament with Spain and France. How did you guys enjoy it? And is Lamine Lamar or Lamine Yamal, I can't even pronounce his name. Is he the real deal?
Lamine Yamal.
It looks like it. I wish we had a Yamal. I wish we had a Nico Williams.
Bro, they'd still be playing for the under 17.
We're scared to use them. No, neta, no los debutamos, and when we see a good player, oh no, espérate que let's respect the process.
Tiene que seguir un proceso. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, what the
Momia Gomez, and we were afraid of him.
what the?
I think about players like breaking out in Spain, especially in Barcelona, like Fermín, Cubarsí, Lamine Yamal, and it just, it makes me all kinds of angry, man. And I think of Piojo's words, hay que respetar el proceso, and it just nothing infuriates me more and annoys me more than Mexico's stubbornness with the proceso. Like, we need to give more youngsters a chance. And, luckily I just saw some really good youngsters in Liga MX this weekend. My boy, Rubalcaba, is doing wonders at Pumas. And he's a pocho from San Bernardino. And he got 2 goals, and he caused an own goal against Leon. So he had 3 goal involvements on the debut for Pumas, like the season debut, I mean. So, yeah. I mean, like, maybe it's a step in the right direction. Maybe finally people are waking up in Liga MX because there's a few jovenazos that I'm looking forward to, but we need to do away with the whole process.
Right. I'm going to give you guys an inconvenient truth. We are not ready at 16. And the reason I say that is because you look at Lamine's like physicality That guy does not look 16. That dude is fucking
Oh
built.
no.
You look at
No,
you look
no,
at a
no.
Mexican at 16, bro. We're skinny there in a twig, bro. We're not.
Well, Lines just had a big ass.
What?
Well,
Line
I
is
don't
Well,
know.
they would call
What are
him. They would
you?
call him an algon. That's why they call him an algon. They would just call him an algon.
Like, look at Marcelo Flores' build, dude. That guy is. Look at Yael Padilla. Yael Padilla, like, I've seen a few photos of him. Like, bro,
Hey,
this
todo
guy's.
tiene baby face ese way.
I'm like, dude,
Bro, you don't even have to go that far. Look at fucking Piojo Alvarado. Like,
Yeah.
he's a grown ass man who's fucking lanky. Even then, look at Carlos Vela. Like, the Mexican build isn't that muscular.
There is, though.
Look
There
at-
is.
Look at
There-
Pedri.
There is that, though. I think there's just a preference. There is just this preference for the players
We don't
with the
take
better
physical
ball
training
control.
serious. We don't take
¿Sabes
that.
qué, güey? Enséñame un pinche oaxaqueño mamado y alto y te enseño a alguien que no existe.
Wiki was pretty.
The
Yeah,
Hey,
strong,
but you know what? Osorio had the right idea. He wanted, he wanted that physical presence. So he was what's his name, giving priority to taller guys. And you know
he
what?
did like
Only one goal a balón parado during this process. So obviously he was
it
doing something
against
right.
England, I think?
Dude,
I
look
think
at
against England
look
Yeah,
at Diego Reyes. Diego Reyes went to, what was it, Porto? Or what team did he go from?
Yeah.
Espanyol. First he went to Espanyol, and he did good in Espanyol, and then he kind of flopped at Porto.
Oh,
But
it was Español, my bad.
he never
you're right.
improved his physical like build, man. He was
Yeah.
still skinny as like looked like anorexic, man. I'm like,
Bro, that all depends on the player too. If you're
I
not
agree. Right there,
disciplined
yeah.
enough, if you're not disciplined enough,
I know,
how are
but
you gonna
it's
get strong?
like you
But
notice it
Valencia
though that
was
it's like
rigged.
it's like there's outliers, right? There are some players that take it serious, but I mean for the most part, dude, you look at a lot of
Can you
players.
recall?
They do
Can
not
you
take
recall
physical serious.
one Mexican player that was built like Alexis Sanchez, like that, like fucking Superman?
Alexis
Carmona.
Sanchez is not a
Vega.
Superman.
Pulido.
Pulido was also pretty rigged. Carmona
He
was
was
strong
tall.
too.
Henry
Wait,
Martin.
Alexis Sanchez está chaparro.
Dude, Chava Carmona was built like a fucking.
Well, he was
Chava
taking
Carmona,
steroids.
there
That's
you
not
go,
a good
Chava
example. Him and Aaron Galindo were taking roids, bro. That's why they're all mamados.
Hey, but don't you think that they're over there? They also take stuff.
I'm sure they do, but
We need to hook these kids up with HGH before they turn
Yeah,
13.
that's it is.
we need
Like,
to
yeah.
we need to
pretty
give
much.
them
Wait,
that
la carne
Canelo
está tainted.
treatment.
It's always gonna be. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
We got to give them that clen.
Clenbuterol, the tacos de
Hey, but
clenbuterol, they tried it.
hopefully the Haitian the Haitian
This is really
contingency in Mexico they started generating.
yeah.
We need some more Aros Arenas and Quiñones.
Just put an orphanage in Rio, dude.
We need some
Hey,
more cross
Put some
pollination.
random
Hey,
beach
the-
in
hey,
Rio.
hey,
and put
Do you guys
an orphanage.
remember we had
Mexico.
one? Do you guys remember we had one that Joao Malek,
Oh,
the fucking asshole that fucking
Oh,
crashed?
He played,
Cameroon.
He played Grand Theft Auto in real life and decided to run over a whole family.
Then we
Exactly.
had El Negrucela, who I think was Haitian. I think El Negrucela. There you go.
No, he was Honduran
Asian?
and
I thought
No,
it was
we
Haitian
said-
from Belize.
no, I think Honduras and Africa, but he was born in Mexico.
Yeah, no, yeah, but he was dark. He was Afro Mexican.
But he's black, yeah. He
Hey, we had Pablo Larios Iwasaki too. So
Hey, was
We've had
Melvin,
him.
hey, was
He
Melvin
was-
Brown Afro Mexican?
he was Jamaican.
Nah, he was from Oaxaca,
Jamaican.
bro.
No, but his family was like from Jamaica. He's the last name Brown, but he was born in Mexico.
I
He
see.
was
I
born
see.
in Mexico. Yeah.
Well, bringing it back to the Euros, I will say I had Spain winning the whole thing from like before the tournament started, and I think they're gonna win the whole thing. Today, I'll be honest, man. Mbappe, very disappointing. This guy is he missed a couple of chances, and Lamine, bro, real deal, 16-year-old
It speaks
doing
in
big
value,
things.
man. He can't be hot all the time. He can't be hot all the time.
Yeah,
You
and
get
and I
the
know
call.
you guys.
You get the call from.
You mentioned
He's in
like
Madrid.
you mentioned that there is a lot of games in a season, so he's probably like.
Messi and Cristiano were always hot.
Were they?
I mean, they all miss sitters, but yeah, today Mbappe at the end of the game, he missed a sitter. He skied it, and I was like, man, dude, that was it right there. But one thing I want to touch on about this Euro France Spain game was the first generation citizens for both these countries. A lot of sons of immigrants. A lot of like Lamine Yamal is from Papua New Guinea. His family's from Papua New Guinea. Nico Williams,
was Moroccan.
His parents are Ghanan. No,
Ghanan, yeah.
His mother was from Papua New Guinea. I just read the that UNICEF article. But what's it called?
Nico Williams.
Laporte, French.
Yeah. No, Nico Williams plays on the left side for Spain, and his brother and him were like one of the first black players to ever play for Athletic Bilbao, the All Basque team. And so, they're from Ghana. His brother plays for Ghana.
Yep.
And but more so on the French side, there's a lot of first generation French players.
Yep.
And so, like we're seeing in the modern game, a lot of well, not foreign born, but a lot of children of immigrants. And
look at Canada. Look at Canada. Have you seen that meme where they show the Canadian team from '84 and the Canadian team now, which is before it was pure white guys, and now they only have like 3 white guys.
It's Canada's a French team.
Perfect example.
Yeah, but I mean, the African population in Canada is like less than 10%.
Yeah, so, but they also got a lot of refugees. So that's been helping them out. Like Davis, I think Davis was a refugee, I believe.
I
Isn't
wish
that
we had
Mexico right now
like
with a bunch of refugees? También, no?
Yeah, and we got to try to incorporate some of them because I think
all those Cubans.
It would be a shame not to use people that we let into our country. So I'm all for that.
It's
and
just
I'm
funny that we had we had a Hernandez playing for France and we had a Laporte playing for Spain. It's like, what, bro? Are you guys sure you're on the right country? Like a French Hernandez and a Spanish Laporte? Like what, dude? It's interesting.
And Laporte did play for. I mean, he was selected for France, but he never debuted, and then he made the switch to Spain.
Yeah,
so,
I thought that was interesting because I remember him being like French in FIFA. Like in FIFA, he was like considered like French, but he just decided to switch.
They dropped him. Like I guess he didn't get along with the French people. There's some quote with from
there was an issue with Didier Deschamps. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, he said like he didn't match, like the chemistry wasn't there, and so they dropped him.
That's interesting.
It's a luxury, really. That guy's good.
Damn. Well, yeah. I mean, Euro, Copa America. What do you guys think? Living up to the hype, or just like disappointment, indifferent? What do you guys feel about these tournaments?
You know what? I'll go first. Disappointment? Really? Of which one, dude? Because I'll be honest, I haven't really been paying much attention to the Euros. Why? Because I don't really care what happens over the pond. Like, what happens over there doesn't hold much stock in what happens in my everyday life.
You will now that West Coast is over
side
there.
Of the world. Then we have yet to see how the lawsuit turns out, but we're not at that part of the show yet. So the thing is, dude, I like Copa America. I like the games that we've been given in Copa America. They haven't been bad. The problem is, honestly, like we touched about, I don't like a game that doesn't go into overtime. I prefer OT. That's just me. But overall, man, I think Copa America has been entertaining. The games have been good. If anything, the intensity of the games are a lot more palpable, and it's just
there's just been a lot of
you
like
seem as a team wants it more than in Europe.
There's been a lot of like dirtiness though in Copa America, like a lot of like foul, a lot of stoppage, a lot of like
I
don't know.
Senor, look, I know at the risk of sounding like Ron and like one of those people, did you never watch fucking not Copa America, but Libertadores? Like, do you not know what the brand of soccer is down there?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't, then that's fine. But that is what soccer is down there.
Mono pelota, nunca los dos.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I've been watching the Euro since '96, and you know what? And it started with the last one, that fucking new format, the with the 24 teams. It's really fucking diluted. It's really diluted the fucking tournament. And then you know what? In general, as we see it with the Liga, with Messi and Cristiano leaving, the star power is just not there right now. Like before, you could fucking with the Netherlands, you could name fucking Kluivert, Tabits, and with these guys, maybe that Gopke guy, and that's about it. It's just the star power in general in world soccer is it's suffering. So that's why it kind of hinders the excitement.
I guess here's a question from, or I mean, a fucking ball from left field. Do you think Guardiola and his playing style killed the superstar? Como dices, there's no real. There haven't been like the next Messi or Ronaldo.
I don't know if
soccer
it killed
became very
it.
positional. Yeah, you're right. It became very positional.
I don't know if it killed like the superstar, because there are some superstars. Don't get me wrong. Lamine is becoming one very quickly. Jude for
not like before
England.
when you would fucking.
What I will say,
I wouldn't blame Pep though.
what I will say is he definitely created a ripple effect where now every fucking team wants to play from the back, and that makes it unbearable to watch sometimes. Because
but look at Spain. Look at Spain. They're taking advantage of Yamal and Nico, and they got away from the tiki-taka, and they're going more vertical. So it also depends on the players.
Because there's some countries and players that honestly can't do it. They just can't do it. They don't have the players to do it. They don't have the system or the discipline. But they still try to do it, and that's the part that pisses me off. Like, dude, don't play out of the back because that's just what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Impose your style of play, and you're not seeing that. And you're seeing some weird blunders in the back, especially today with Argentina. You saw them making all those mistakes playing out the back today.
Yeah.
Why do you think Why do you think the own goal?
A lot of mistakes on their own field.
Why do you think the own goal is up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Own goal leading in goal scoring in Euros.
Yeah, I'll say I wouldn't say to playing out the back too much, because this whole, and even Pep, because this talk's been going on for a long time about just the game, the essence of the game changing, and a lot to me has to do with it became more physical, way more physical, and you see it with the players how compared. Well, just really quick, the players compared to back in the days, how much like physical they are, how much taller and stronger they are, and so that made it so like an average team, but you put in a bunch of good athletes, and they're able to disrupt, and it's no longer what you can do with the ball, like that's. And then even before Pep, there was the whole talk of the death of the number 10, and there was this one article about Riquelme and how, and you kind of saw in Barcelona how Luis Van Gaal, he didn't even want to play with Riquelme, and kept moving Rivaldo, which I thought was insane. It was like you kept trying to make him play in the wings, and so I think it's just a modern game, more so in Europe, how they've always played it. It just became very.
No, what I wanted to say is, it seems like the sport has become very robotic. Como back in 2000, you had players con más magia. Let me put like an example like Ronaldinho. You don't see anybody doing those kinds of things anymore. You just see the quick pass, the sprint super far, or the, ¿cómo se dice? Side-to-side pass. That's all we see now. That's
you
don't see game breakers like that anymore.
Well, here, look.
They kill them. That's the thing.
I've enjoyed. I've seen a lot of the games for the Euro. In fact, I thought that the best game, in terms of tactics, I thought it was actually between Denmark and England. Ended up in a tie, but other than that, I thought it was a very, very good game, especially on Denmark's side. But in terms of going to the question about Pep, has he ruined the game? He adapted. I mean, if you think about it, the image of like a 41-year-old Pepe sprinting, and and basically very very late in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Pelé at 33, 34 was pretty much done. Same thing with Maradona. I mean, these guys were pretty much done. It's just these players are just. I mean, they're footballers, but they're also athletes.
Mm-hmm.
No, the thing is, sports science has improved from Pelé's time as well. It's not just the game evolving itself. It's just sports science.
So I mean, I don't know if you recall.
The career ender. It's no longer the case. Like now, it's a year out. But like back then, during Pelé and Maradona's time, an ACL tear was a career ender.
So like for
we
example,
drug test Pepe.
Do you remember that player from he played in Atlas, he played in America, Calderon? Jose Luis Calderon, you guys remember him?
Jose Luis Calderon doesn't sound familiar.
Good player, but anyhow, so I mean, this is one of the and this is in the late '90s, early 2000s. Okay, so this guy took his physique like very serious, almost like Palencia, almost like what's his name, Adolfo Rios, right? And I remember listening in an interview with Calderon, and like they were talking about his physique and how he took care of himself and stuff like that. And he said that just the diet itself is basically more than half the battle if you're disciplined enough. I said you could have a long career, and that's one of the things that the youngsters don't understand is because they think they're young, that they'll just be able to burn it off. But it's basically just being very very disciplined, not only in the weight room but also in what you put in your body. So I mean, these players, like I said, they're fucking fast as hell now. I mean, that's
let his players eat pizza. He gives them shit for eating pizza because of like the lactic acid buildup afterwards.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So you have to adapt, and I think Guardiola was he was able to adapt in that regard. Learning how to play. I know that you probably have seen this clip of Henry talking about when he was at Barcelona, and how he thought that what's his name, Pep Guardiola was very rigid in his ways. That you have to trust your teammate, and you have to trust in yourself, and you have to stay basically in your zone and in your role. So at first, he kind of like wasn't really paying attention to that, and he ended up basically going back, leaving his zone, and he ended up basically scoring. He's on the bench on the second half. So I mean, that's one of the things that that you kind of admire about Pep is that he's doing things not because he's trying to copy somebody, even though he has said that he's taken a little bit from Arrigo Sacchi, a little bit from even La Volpe, and and some of his coaches, in Barcelona, Cruyff, and all that type of stuff. But I mean, he has made it his own, and like it or not, it's worked for him. Unfortunately, when other people try to copy,
and the bags of money he gets too.
Yeah. I mean, it must be very flattering for him where he can go to basically anywhere in the world, whether it's Wimbledon or it's the NBA Finals, and he gets a standing ovation because people recognize that this guy's he's going to be one of the all-time greats in coaching in any sport. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
One thing I just want to touch on, I agree with both of you guys. The tactics, the physicality has changed, but the truth of the matter is that it's caused a lull in the overall quality. Like the peak of quality has dropped because we have Bellingham and Vinicius, who are the two front runners for the Ballon d'Or this year, and they have pitiful numbers compared to peak Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. Like they're not even hitting Juan Mata numbers at Chelsea. Like it's like
Ronaldo said, Fat Ronaldo said about Vinicius. He said that he was a juego bonito. Neymar was the last juego bonito. So that pretty much says it all.
Yeah, they're not even close to Neymar's numbers. Like not even close.
I don't think you're going to see another Messi and a Ronaldo in a good while because of these guys. I mean, you're going to see players that are going to shine, like Ronaldinho. 5 years, 6 years, top, world-class top. But the thing that makes Messi and Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, is these guys have been doing it for 15 years at the top level.
What about
I don't.
Mbappe? You think it's gonna fade out? Do you think
I think
Mbappe's gonna fade out?
I think he's going to fade out. I don't. That's one of the things. Like, for example, like, when James, had that awesome World Cup in Colombia,
14.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
14. 2014, yeah.
in 14, this guy, they were making him out to be the next, best thing since sliced bread. But the thing about it is, like, I don't buy it. A World Cup, when it's all said and done, it's only fucking 7 games, 8 games, right?
Yeah.
So that to me doesn't show consistency. That's you had a great tournament, and obviously that matters, in terms of the history books. But the thing about it is, you have to do this day in and day out, and that's what separates the Messi from and the Ronaldos from Ronaldinho, who I thought, I kind of agree with like, coaches like the great one, Jose Mourinho. At his peak, the original Ronaldo, best player.
Oh yeah, there's a fucking
best,
juggernaut.
But the thing about it is, he wasn't able to maintain it for so long.
Yeah, the injuries fucking.
It's the parties. No, the partying. He was a notorious partying.
Yeah,
it was
No, he had a really bad ACL tear.
Yeah,
he was out for like a year. But one of the stuff I had heard, this goes way back, so just don't add me. You might be able to look at it. But so you guys could see pictures of him when he was part of the '94 World Cup squad. He was a pretty skinny guy. Yeah, and then he goes to Europe when he's in Holland and all that, and all of a sudden, dude, he just fucking bulks up.
Yeah,
and
when it was a fucking
huge. Yeah. And one of the things I had heard was that, because I think they did that to him, like the HGH or something like that. Could have been steroids, whatever. That his was too much weight for his ligaments.
Oh
like
shit!
It was yeah, and that's what it kept causing, like, his knee. And it goes back to this quote. It was like from Pelé, and I think it was, I don't know if it was Ronaldinho, Robinho, one of those guys. And he was saying, we're gonna need to protect it. He said something like, we can't let them do what they did to Ronaldo. Something like that. Yeah, this is far back though, man. If
There's
I try searching for some of this, I probably won't find that quote.
Yeah, there was a
but
lot
the
of
hormones
shady
work
things
for
with
Messi.
Ronaldo.
Fuck it.
Ronaldo, I mean, they claim that Ronaldo was forced to play the '98 final because of his contract with Nike, which hasn't been confirmed nor denied. But yeah,
hello,
can you guys hear?
Loud and clear.
Okay, for sure.
what happened?
I'm not sure. No, everything we're still going.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
I don't hear everybody. I heard except from you, I hear crickets.
Oh no. Yeah, sometimes the Twitter Spaces app acts up. But yeah,
You're muting everybody, Albert.
No, I'm not the admin. I'm not the admin.
no muting here. We did.
So,
go ahead.
Going back to, like, the Euro games, and one of the comments, I don't remember who made it, about basically the shithousery that you would see in Copa America and what you see in Europe. And I've always preferred the dark arts, the shithousery, because I've always, and that to me is one of the things that European football, I think, because it's gone so corporate and so global, that it's had to tone it down, and it's had to basically appeal to the masses. And I mean, I still remember watching games, and we didn't have access, obviously back in the '80s and early '90s, to a lot of European games, right?
Yep.
Because I mean, I think cable really came about, where you had so many channels in the mid to late '90s. But I mean, growing up, I mean, I still remember watching, I still remember watching some of the European games, on replay and stuff like that, like, the Dutch, the Germany and stuff like that. And I mean, you had a combination of talent, but also, physicality. And keep in mind that this was a generation that basically where their parents either fought or basically fought in the world war. So there was that fucking animosity.
There's that extra, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and one of the things, like for example, Jurgen Klopp, I remember in an interview when he was talking about Brexit, he thought that Brexit was a mistake because hey, I've been lucky, I'm 50 whatever years old, we've never seen war in my generation and stuff like that. So I mean, there was that sense of unity and stuff like that. But for me, I guess when we were growing up, I mean, you saw the shithousery, the fucking that sort of physicality in both in European football and also in South American and Latin America. And for me, I've always liked it. And do you guys remember the what do you call it, the football, the Mexican football picante? No, it wasn't football picante. It was Clio, like the videos. Hazaña, you remember those?
Yeah,
Hazaña,
I know it was Acción.
Yeah.
Acción.
So I
Those were
remember. I can't
great.
remember. I can't remember which fucking pundit said this, but he basically says if you don't accept that and the word he said it was roce. If you don't accept that that's the soul of the game, go play marbles.
Oh, wow.
And I've always and I remember hearing that. That's always stuck to me, and it's like because that's how I feel about the game too. I mean, I think we're being prudes, and I think we're being there's a reason why people want to watch Real Madrid at Barcelona. There's a reason why you want to watch Boca Juniors, River Plate. There's a reason why you want to watch Celtics and Rangers. It's not because it's exactly because of that constant violence and that constant headbutting. I mean, I think we would be lying to ourselves if we wouldn't at least admit that. And I think that's
sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you, Ron. But I was gonna say, when we watch El Clásico, we're waiting for them para que se agarren a putazos.
Yeah,
but you don't even see that anymore.
Yeah, most of us do. Yeah, we don't see it, but there's in our back of our heads, we're like, que se agarren a putazos.
Yeah.
You're waiting for that first shove. You're waiting for that first shove.
Exactly.
You don't see that in at least you don't see that in Chivas America games anymore. They're all friends.
Yeah. I mean, back. I mean, it used to be. It used to be where the guys from the Mexico City and the guys from the provinces, they wouldn't ride together. They wouldn't sit together. They wouldn't bunk together. And I mean, I watch. I like to listen to the podcast from what's his name, Gary Neville. What is it, The Overlap or whatever? He recently had what's his name, Patrick Vieira from the French international Arsenal. I mean, those guys. I mean, in the 90s, those guys fucking hated each other.
Oh yeah, Arsenal and Man U was like a huge rivalry.
Yeah. So I mean, I enjoy that part of the game. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I think that's I think the Euro could use that a little bit more. Because I think it's become
that's the beauty of the World Cup, right? It's like that's where you really see the clash of styles, and that's where some teams get caught with their pants down because they're not used to that kind of physicality.
But you do see that with the Eastern European teams, and especially in the Euro. Like a couple years back, I mean, you had the Polish and the Russians fucking going at it.
Mm-hmm.
So. I'd be lying to you. That part of the game has always fascinated me. And
do you think that the Euro is harder to win than Copa America or the World Cup?
Soccer purists would say Copa America is the hardest one to win. I still think I would say it's even. It's a major sport. It's a major tournament.
Honestly, I would say it's Copa America because there's less qualifiers. There's less people who qualify into that tournament, as with Euro has been expanded so much to where it doesn't really hold what it used to.
I just want to add to what Abdias is saying because I agree 100%. Third place teams in the group stage of the Euro get to advance. So hands down, Copa America is the harder one to win because it's less forgiving.
And now, when you
I don't
add on
know.
top of that the expected
Bro, that
contact,
makes
the
zero
expected
sense.
constant contact.
I don't
It's like
know
if you
about
always
that.
invite the same 8 teams, it's less teams, so they have higher probabilities of winning, as opposed to you qualify
Expanding it.
30 teams.
Yeah, the odds go higher.
You know, it's like 1 out of
Yeah.
30 can win,
Yeah.
as opposed to being 10.
And let's be
Yeah, but
honest,
once
bro.
you
There's
make
some
it
there's some
to
fucking
that was the final, right? The round of 16, it's all
Bro,
the same teams.
it's always like Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, Colombia, maybe.
yeah.
And every now and then you get a team that has a really good generation, like or something.
Exactly, it's the blue bloods, and
How's
you get
that
the
harder?
exact
It's like
same.
the same fucking teams winning it all the
But
time.
you're getting the exact same thing over in UEFA as well. Like, look who's going up for it right
Well,
now.
you have more opponents. You have more opponents to get through. And
You have the
also,
lower
What kind of
opponents.
quality
And also,
opponents are
if
you
they
getting, though? Imagínate un San Marino versus
Exactly.
freaking
Is
Germany.
pinching San
Nah,
Marino
don't disrespect
Euros?
Georgia
No.
like that. Georgia had a
Is
respectable
Panama Euros?
Euro.
I'm just giving an example, Wade. Like, you know,
But still, Georgia had one good one. What about the rest?
Georgia
Right?
beat Portugal,
like
dog.
you can't judge. Yeah, but you can't judge everybody by the exception.
I fuck with the
Look,
Albanians.
if
I
they
fuck with
keep CONCACAF and
yeah. No, don't get me wrong.
all combined,
There are some ugly
Euros is definitely harder. Because when you have one side of your bracket,
One of the things, CONMEBOL has been 10 federations for a long time, right? The European Union or the UEFA hasn't been. It has changed. I mean, in the last 20, 30, 40 years, it has changed because of the geopolitical, right? I would the Euro just a slight. I would say that it's slightly more difficult to win because you're also adding the qualifying aspect of it, But obviously, when you start getting into like the knockout stages of like semifinals, and I mean that's pretty much shit. I mean, you're facing the best of the West, whether you're at the Euro Cup or the Copa America. But in general, I would say the Euro Cup is a little slightly more difficult because of the road to get to that title,
So I'm looking at just numbers here. Argentina has won Copa America 15 times. They're tied with Uruguay. Then you have Brazil with 9.
Yeah.
Then you have Paraguay with 2, Chile with 2, Peru with 2, Colombia with 1, and Bolivia with 1. And that is it, dog. That thing has only changed hands 9 times. Actually, 8 times.
Once again, blue
I mean,
bloods.
there's only 10 teams, so 8 out of 10.
what
that's
about
pretty well.
Europe? What about Europe?
So in
Who's
Europe,
won the Euro?
Europe, you got 3. You have Spain has 3, Germany has 3.
Yep.
Italy, I believe, has
2.
2.
France.
France has, what is it, 2?
2.
In the 80, and then in the 84 and in 2000.
Damn. Keep
the
going.
Dutch won it in 88 with that, there was that awesome volley from Van Basten in the 80.
There you go.
In the 88. Who else? Denmark.
Yep.
Denmark also won it in 92. They were the surprise
Damn.
team in 92. That was actually the first time I kind of like.
You're forgetting one that's like probably one.
Oh, Greece.
Yeah.
Portugal.
Hey, wait, it's sounding very similar to Copa America, Argentina, Brazil, and then on the Euro side, you're looking France, Spain, Germany, Italy.
So to answer the question, 11 different countries have won the Euro versus Copa America only 8.
Yeah, but also one thing, it has been 4 years. The Copa America.
Oh, there's more additions. Yeah.
A lot more additions. So they've gone, every 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, 4 years. So it's changed, right? Whereas the European.
Yeah, the Euro started in 1960.
Since the 1960s.
Yep. So there's been less editions of the Euro. However, there's been more winners.
The Soviet Union also won one. Now that I think they beat Spain, I believe.
1960, the first one.
So yeah.
That was when USSR was very feared, huh? They had a really good team back then, no?
Yeah.
They had they were
the Soviet
the Eastern
Union.
Bloc. The Eastern Bloc had a lot of good teams.
Yugoslavia versus
Czech.
versus Soviet Union. That was the first one in 1960. Yeah. I don't know. I think Copa America is just like you have maybe 2 or 3 main countries, and then the rest is just like, we'll see if I can get some scraps. I'm gonna like play devil's advocate and say that it's not that hard to win Copa America because Mexico was very close to winning it twice, and has been runner-up or has been third place champion 3 times, and they're an invite. They're not even from this region. So if an outsider from this region can have that kind of performance, you take Mexico, you put them in the Euro, they're not getting out the group stage.
And then you got England, who's like the greatest, quote unquote, greatest league in the world. They've never won Euros.
I know, that's crazy.
One of the things that has helped Mexico in the Copa America is, if you think about it, where did they play the final in 93 and then in 2001? And they played it in high altitude. So
where was 93 at, actually?
Ecuador.
Oh.
So they played it, in Quito. So I mean, when they played in, like, for example, like in '95, that was in Uruguay. That's when they lost to the fucking U.S. and then '97 was Paraguay. '99, or what was 97 Bolivia, '99 Paraguay. I forget. But so anyhow, but I mean, that was one of the things that kind of that helped the Mexican clubs playing and because like Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, they have struggled playing Peru, playing Ecuador, even Colombia, because Colombia also has venues with high altitudes, right? And I mean, and that's one of the things that Mexico has kind of when they've gone to play these teams in South America, whether it be a club or national team, but the altitude wouldn't affect the Mexican teams. So that's one that I would say that's one thing that that just the different climates and the different altitudes that's why the South American qualifiers are the fucking toughest in the world.
Yeah.
Because one match day you're playing in Rio Platense, right? And then the next match day you're basically playing in La Paz. And the guys can't even fucking breathe.
For sure.
So, but like I said, I give it the slight edge. I would give it to the Europeans. So who? So you said, Jaime, you said that you think Spain's going to take it?
Yeah, I mean, Spain had. They eliminated a couple hitters toward their path on the final. I mean, Germany. It was going to be between Germany and Spain. I honestly thought whoever won that was going to win the whole thing, and I just don't see the other side of the bracket doing much damage. You have the Netherlands, who are notoriously known for choking finals, and then you have England, right? They've only ever been to one Euro final, and that was 4 years ago, and they bottled that against Italy. So I don't think either one of those teams will surpass Spain. I think Spain got tested really tough with Germany and France, and they keep pulling rabbits out of their ass.
I would have to agree with you, but I don't think they've been pulling rabbits out of their asses. I think that they're before the thing started, I thought that Germany was going to take it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after a match day or two, and then seeing Spain, I think Spain's really been the only team in the entire tournament that hasn't been playing, reacting to what the opposition is doing. They're basically imposing their will.
Exactly.
And I have to give them the edge just because of that. Because that's one of the things that England, the Netherlands, and the Netherlands played a horrible their last match date.
Mm-hmm.
They played a really horrible game, and for me they haven't really looked that good in the playoffs.
Yeah. You bring up a great point, because what happened to Spain after they conceded that goal? Absolutely nothing. They kept doing the same fucking thing they did before they conceded the goal. It did not phase them. They didn't flinch. They didn't get scared. They're like, all right, well, let's just keep doing our thing, and it worked.
That's how Spain won the World Cup in 2010. Remember, they lost the first match day. Who was it? This Switzerland, if I recall correctly. And
yeah.
So I remember the press was panicking, the fans were panicking, but I remember going to one of their training sessions, and those guys were cool as a cucumber, man. It was just a fucking just a little roadblock. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when you have that sort of mentality and that sort of calm and collect, you're doing things right. So I do have to. I think they're going to take it. Unless they get hosed on a call or something, but I think that they're going to take it.
Yeah, me too. We'll see tomorrow. We have Netherlands, England,
and I think that Uruguay is going to take it.
Yep.
I think they're a little bit more aggressive right now than Argentina. I think Argentina's been basically just on cruise control. They
got to get past Colombia first.
I know. I think they're going to get past Colombia. I think they are going to get past Colombia. And here's the thing with Uruguay. They haven't looked good in all their games. But one of the things that I do think, that they've done pretty well is basically try to be the aggressor. I mean, they tried to really get into the opposition's side of the field and stuff like that. And they've tried to sometimes they try to force things too much, and they don't make the right play. But I for some reason I'm seeing Argentina that they're just too relaxed. I mean, and that could be a good thing, but I don't know. It's just something tells me that I think Uruguay's going to take it.
If Uruguay beats Colombia, they're absolutely winning the tournament. We don't even have to go that far for the World Cup qualifiers. They went to the Bombonera and beat Argentina 2-0.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
So I just want to say one quick criticism on Bielsa ball. And that high pressing style, it's very taxing on the players. And I think it was Dionisio from Fútbol Picante who was stating that it never really pans out for Bielsa on the tournament format or the league format. He's had a lot of success in qualifiers, like for Chile. I think he was the coach of another South American team, and then now Uruguay. And it's because it's like one and done. I mean, 1-2, and then you're done. You leave, right? But I think this last game they look tired. I think Argentina also looks tired. And it could be the amount of games these people play. But I will say that I don't think that they can keep up the high pressure game for that much longer. I think they're going to struggle against Colombia.
Oh.
And even though they were my favorite to win it this year, I think the train's going to gas out.
Interesting.
I think they're going to run out of fuel because that's what usually happens with Bielsa's teams. If you look at his resume. They kind of implode. And so I've been seeing the cracks of Uruguay.
Well, Rifalo, we're going to have to see what happens. But I'm definitely writing that down to see if your prediction is correct. I like it, though. We still have to get past Colombia. But I hope that tomorrow's matches on both the Euro and Copa America have a little bit more juice to them. I don't think the Dutch or the English want this game to go to PKs, but it kind of smells like PKs, to be honest, the way England's been playing. With that,
hold on. I'm sorry, I'm driving on this end, and I just had to hop off mute real quick, just to go off at what El Rifado said. You know what, man? I get it, but at the same time, if there's a single national team that can play that style of football, that pressing and all of that, it's Uruguay. Uruguayan players have been known for having that garra that makes them special, having that extra give. One motherfucker was defending the ball with his head against the U.S., if you didn't watch it. So to underestimate the way that Uruguayan soccer is played, the way that they live football down there, is honestly, man, it's short-sighted because they fucking put in the work. It's one of those things where we've talked about. It's like, hey, the Mexican player doesn't have that stock in the world when you're selling them the way a Brazilian, an Argentinian, fucking Uruguayan, because you know that when they go out on the pitch, they are going to completely kill themselves and give everything that they have. So if there's one national team that is suited for that, it is Uruguay.
All right. I want to move into Liga MX, the other juicy part of the show. And of course, without failure, Ricardo is not here to talk about his loss against San Luis 2-1. The Bicampeonato team lost their first game of the season. Is this signs of campeonitis, Ron?
No. I think it's just a combination of, two tournaments are going, or the Copa America. So America did have players that aren't on the team right now. They signed Sendejas, they signed Henry Martin. I think that as the league gets after these tournaments and stuff like that, and once the focus is gone from Copa America and stuff like that, more eyes are going to go on, turn towards the league and stuff like that. So I think America is going to take it. I mean, I didn't watch all of the game. In fact, I didn't watch it live. I saw a little bit of on the replay, but from the little that I saw, I liked. Obviously I didn't like the loss, but I mean, I think that they'll be able to turn it around.
Ron, I have a question for you. Would you say that the players are tired that, ya no hay piernas at this point?
For some of them, yes. For some of them, no. Obviously, players like, Fidalgo and Martin, they didn't play a tournament. They weren't with the national team. Obviously you have players like, what's his name? The Chilean guys, the Paraguayan guys, Uruguay, I'm sorry, guys. You had players, playing in Copa America. So I'm worried about those guys when they come back to the club. But I mean, America had to play youngsters and stuff like that. And that's, honestly, that's always a good thing, especially early on in the season. So I based off what I saw, I thought that, the team still looked, pretty much good. You could tell that it was the first game of the season. I didn't see any other league. I didn't see any other game and stuff like that. So I don't know how the other teams basically armed themselves for this tournament. But, I do plan on watching a couple of games this weekend and stuff like that. So I'll be able to see, which teams, are playing well and which ones aren't,
Everyone pace themselves because we have still plenty of football left, obviously with Copa America, Euro action, but we got Liga MX returning on Friday. America will play Querétaro, and Chivas will play Tijuana as well on Friday. Actually, there's going to be 4 games on Friday: Mazatlán, San Luis, Atlas, Tigres. So the footballing continues. You got to remind you and everyone listening that we are going to have a month pause for League's Cup. So Liga MX is going to try and get 4 matches in before League Cup kicks off at the end of July. And Liga MX will not return until August 23rd. So we're going to have to sit through this for a month. And I don't think that these 4 matches to start the season are going to be any indication of how the season will end up.
I don't plan on watching those matches. I don't.
You know what? Jaime, you sound like someone who's been burned by something like this before. Something about like super líder.
No.
Some
like
type
that.
of mami like that.
No. I'm just saying that, these 4 matches are not going to matter in the grand scheme of things.
That sounds like some Chivas PTSD coming through right now.
It's just typical. It's just typical.
About
Liga
a year
MX.
ago, I remember a whole lot of mami about like, no, güey, las Chivas que vamos a partir la madre en las Kings, no la Kings League, en la League's Cup y que quién sabe qué madres, ¿Para qué? ¿Para salir en el primer round? ¿Para empezar a dar las nalgas nomás regresando y todo lo demás? So yeah, don't buy too much stock into it, boys, because you know what? Some people here inhaled that smoke and it bit them in the ass.
A year ago, we were in a final against Tigres and, royally fucked
and then
that
you
up.
shat the bed.
Yeah. So, I think perspective matters. But, just the league in general, right? It doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish, especially with the play-in and all the teams that are eligible to even fight for the title towards the end of the season. These first couple of matches are just tune-up matches. Take advantage of the opponents. Maybe rest some players. Maybe throw in some youngsters. I know that's what Pachuca did on their defeat against Rayados. They had a lot of young players out there. I didn't recognize half of them. A lot of them with like triple digits on their jersey. That's how I know that they're youngins.
Yeah, Pachuca just sold what's his name, Emilio Rodriguez to Celta de Vigo. So he's a right winger. Had a good season last year with Pachuca, and now he's off to Spain.
Mexican?
He's Mexican. Emilio Rodriguez to Celta de Vigo. It happened, and I don't know how much for, but they did. They promised us that they would send someone to Europe, and we thought it was going to be Chiquito, but it was Emilio instead.
Is that the team that is owned by Grupo Pachuca?
I believe so, because Orbelin was at this team, and I remember there was some connection between Liga MX and Celta de Vigo. So, good luck to Emilio Rodriguez.
No, what is the team that they own that was in the second division?
Yeah, it's not Celta de Vigo. They own
Oviedo? Gijon?
Oviedo.
Yeah. Did they get promoted or no?
No.
Oh, they didn't.
It did not.
I know there's two teams in Spain that are owned by Mexican teams, right?
I think it's Gijon and Oviedo.
Yeah, I think you're right.
También Oviedo finished, I believe, towards the top of their league this year. Y le están metiendo un chingo de feria to where they're thinking that they might be able to get promotion next year.
But there is a connection between Celta de Vigo and what's it called, and Liga MX, because we Renato Tapia, Orbelin Pineda, and now Emilio, there's some connection. It might be an agent or
what was the bum ass team that Nacho went to, that coach, and then he got canned in Spain?
Nacho Ambriz?
Yeah, he went to Spain, coached a second division team, and got kicked to the side. What team was that?
Leganes? I don't know. I think it might have been Leganes.
Are you talking about El Chiqui Dracula?
No.
No, güey, Nacho Cuaro.
Huesca.
Huesca. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I got it. Sporting Gijon is owned by Orlegui and Grupo Pachuca and Real Oviedo. So those are the two connections. So Celta Vigo, man, that's all right. That's good. I know that Carlos Vela was loaned out there. That was like his first loan out, I think, when he started his career at Arsenal.
You know what? Maybe that's why they're starting to trust a little bit more in the Mexican player. Because let's be honest, during his time there, he was fucking tearing it up. That was when it was like, wait, who the hell is this little beaner out here doing this wild shit?
Celta has an interesting coach in Rafael, the fat waiter. I forgot his last name, but he won the Champions League with Liverpool. Rafael something. He's a Spanish coach.
Oh, güey, ¿cómo se llama?
Rafa Benitez.
Rafa Benitez. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what he can bring out of Emilio.
Yeah.
If he even wants him. Sometimes these players go over there and the coach doesn't even want them.
That is true. What other? We had Puebla. They beat Santos 1-0. Tijuana beat Querétaro 2-1. Tijuana being coached by Juan Cambios Osorio. Already off to a better start than Piojo did at TJ. And Cocolizo scored the opening goal over there in Querétaro. Atlas and Juárez tied 2-2. We talked about San Luis beating América 2-1. Tigres beat Necaxa 1-0. Andre Pierre Gignac scored from the PK. And Chivas. Chivas Toluca 0-0 at home. Quite a frustrating match because what has changed from the last whistle of last season and the beginning of this season? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you're still broke. Welcome to it.
It doesn't make sense though because, all right, we don't have money, but we ended up spending a decent amount on a bunch of nobodies, which could amount to one big signing. So instead of doing one big signing, they got a bunch of nobodies, and I don't know how I feel about it. The players that they brought in just like really don't. It's not.
You feel horrible and you feel like ass and you're wondering where the fuck your club is going. Don't worry, bro. I felt that a couple years ago with Cruz Azul.
It's just terrible, man. I thought they would learn their lessons from last season, make the appropriate changes, and they've done absolutely nothing. If anything, we might end up going backwards if we let Chiquete Orozco leave.
Yeah, I heard Cruz Azul wants to buy him. They want to hijack the Anderlecht deal, and now Chivas is closer to selling them to Cruz Azul, or so some of the rumors say.
Yeah, so I guess his release clause expired in June, something like that. So Anderlecht wasn't able to trigger it because Chivas did not respond to it in appropriate time. And then I think
classic Chivas.
I think Cruz Azul are trying to replace Salcedo, are trying to poach him, but there's no way you allow him to leave to any other team in Liga MX.
Oh, there is. Come on, bro. You know what you are. Stop pretending like it. Just name the fucking price and then take a shower afterwards. All right.
I don't think they would let him go, even if it was for 10, 12 million, because not only would you like lose him and not have someone to replace him with, you're still keeping him in Liga MX, which means now he's going to be a threat. So it's like I don't think he's going to leave, and I'm sure he's frustrated because I know he wants to go to Europe, but also Belgium ain't it, bro. Like it's got to be a bigger club than Belgium. I'm sorry.
Do you really want to have this conversation, bro? Do you really want to have
I just want you to name me one Mexican player that went to the Belgian league and came out better than where he was prior to that.
We have no players who've gone to the Belgian league. Why can't you go and be a trendsetter?
What are you talking about? We had Ochoa go there. We had Edson Govea go there. We had there's one more that went to Belgium.
Arteaga.
You know what? I might be wrong on this one, but you know what? Why don't you go out there and you be a trendsetter? Why don't you go do something different?
The Belgian league is not better than Liga MX. You cannot convince me that.
No, it's not. And you know what? I'll give it to you. So you know what? If it's a little lower league, go out there and fucking kill it, fucking retard.
You don't do
the thing that happens over there is that you have more eyes on you. You have a greater exposure. Right? Exactly. It's kind of like what Miguel Layún did, right? He left to go to a second division. After a second division, after a couple games, he was spotted and went into first. After the first, he got a contract, and he did a little bit of hopping around in Europe. It's getting that exposure, getting those eyes on you, and then making the moves.
I would agree with you only if Anderlecht is competing in Champions League football, which I don't know if they are. But if it's not Champions League football, then go fuck yourself.
I might be wrong on this one, but I think no. It's Huesca's team who did compete in Champions.
That is the only thing that I would like. All right, if the team is playing in Champions League football, then that's the incentive. That's where it'd be willing to take that gamble. But the Belgian league is the Belgian league.
No, man, that's so short-sighted. Look at a conference league. Who won it? Olympiacos from Greece. And, Greece is known as the Fisherman League. But look at the teams that they beat to get there. It was like West Ham, Aston Villa, Fiorentina, shit like that. So, like, when you are playing for those little teams and you're doing well in the conference league, making those final rounds, playing in those crappy leagues, those teams that you just beat, if you're one of the better players, you'll get noticed. And that team in Belgium, they are an exporting club. They are a trampoline club to bigger leagues. So at that point, you're just betting on yourself that you're gonna go in there, become a starter. Hopefully, the team has a great season, and you use it as a trampoline like others before you.
He's not going to become a better player out there because they got shooters like Lukaku.
So then tell me, what do you want? Do you want for fucking Chelsea to come pick up un pinche frijolito out of the ground? Or
Chelsea's
like,
a
what's your dream
terrible club to
scenario?
go to. They have a terrible
Yeah,
track
pero se
record.
la estuvieras mamando, ¿no?
No,
It's
Chelsea.
like, oh, finally a big club comes.
We learned that lesson with Ulises Davila. They had no intention of ever having him play for the Chelsea Blues. I think.
No, I'm talking about any player. Is that what you want? Is that what you want out of Mexican players? That like go to the big club or don't leave at all?
I don't believe that you need to
like,
go.
Don't go earn it.
I don't believe that you need to go to Europe and get even more exposure. Like if you're really good at your position, regardless of where you play in the world, you're gonna get called up. Chicharito, like that dude wasn't getting any exposure. Like he had a couple of friendlies, and then
whoa.
Okay,
Copa
it's not even the
Libertadores,
same
bro.
thing though, man.
Chicharo was blowing up Copa Libertadores. That was his exposure right there.
And Chiqueta's not even like one of the best in the league.
Yeah, he's not.
In his position. Chicharito was like fighting for leading scorer of the
I
whole
can
league.
argue that Pina Arellano was a better player in Libertadores than Chicharo was.
So Anderlecht is qualifying for Europa League.
Jaime, you're also forgetting that that Chicharito, he missed being on that squad that won the World Cup, the under 17. So, I mean, he's I mean, he was a journeyman, dude. I mean, he you know, and like Joel said, the international, the Libertadores. So, I mean, if you read about how Manchester came, and I think Tom Marshall wrote a good article about that, that they were already keeping eyes on Chicharito, and Scout basically went to Sir Alex and said, hey, this guy's going to break out in the World Cup and he's going to be worth a lot more. Sign him now. And they did.
Yeah. Yeah, the game against New Zealand where he scored that ridiculous header, he had more airtime than Jordan. That was what convinced United to make an offer for him. But what I'm trying to say is if Chiquete was, number one, a stud for club and country, he's going to get the attention and the exposure to get you to a club that is, or at least a league that's better than the Belgian league. I'm sorry. This is not even a lateral move. This is a demotion if he goes to Belgium.
I don't know, man. Playing Europa League, and if he's a starter and their team goes far.
We've had Govea go out there. We've had Ochoa go out there. We've had that went calling back to Monterrey. They all play in the Belgian league. None of them did absolutely anything with that.
Look, this is the way that I'll put it. And
they didn't become better players.
It makes sense. Sometimes in your career, you have to take a step back to take a step forward. All right? And at the same time, not every promotion is a step forward. When you look at things, it's not as fucking clear as paper. If you're willing to take a bet on yourself and take that step forward, sometimes it means taking a step back. So going down to that league and getting that level of exposure, great. Now, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't think you can do it, then don't leave, stay in Liga MX, and move the fuck over to the side.
All I'm saying is he should be looking at these rumors of going to Anderlecht, and he should be infuriating. He should be going into the training grounds the next day and grinding it even more. Until those rumors get better, you fucking keep grinding, because if that's the best you can do right now, you're obviously not good enough. And look at Rafa Marquez. He went to Monaco and won a league title over there, and then he got to Barcelona. That's something more in line with, like, all right, that's actually a decent move. Monaco wasn't.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're talking about a generational player, so an average player like Chiquete.
He's not an average player, but I think that's what it takes.
Chiquete is not a generational player, though.
He's not a generational elite player. He's not even on the national team. Look at the age Rafa Marquez debuted. Look at the style of play his team was playing, how he's commanding the team from behind.
Then we agree. He's not good enough then. He's not good enough.
Yeah, he's not good enough to go to the top 5 move that you want him to make. So what are you complaining about?
I think that he should be working harder. Because come on, man, I think you really think he's worse than Massa when he made that move to PSV.
He's not worse than Massa, but look at all the experience Massa had. Massa was also a national team player. He was a World Cup national team player. Like I said, it's not the same thing.
I mean, Chiquete was convocado. He was one of the convocados, so he just didn't play.
He was a 24 out of 26. Did he see any minutes? How many minutes he saw? 0.
I mean, he played against Uruguay.
Massa Rodriguez, who played in the World Cup.
And Massa was old, bro. When he went to PSV, he was
experienced.
He was old.
Experienced World Cup player, national team player, starter going to the Dutch league is not the same as a guy who's not even top 3 in his domestic league.
He was 27 when he went to PSV. So I think Chiquete still has plenty of time to, if he gets good enough, to go to Europe. But for the rest of the team, man, I just think it's, Chicharito, he missed a sitter. I'm sure that's all they're going to be playing, that he missed that. But there's other players to blame too. I just don't think that this team has improved or has learned their lessons from last season. I know we got to the semis last season, but until they make some improvements to the reinforcements, we're gonna continue doing this bullshit.
Man, speaking of recruits and no money, man, where's that investigative journalist, detective that wants to have the news breaking story of the year of Chivas, quote unquote, not having any money? Because if you look at their fucking sponsors on their website,
I know
they went from having 6, 7 sponsors to having 15, 18, 20. They got a crypto sponsor. They got fucking Burger King or Hardee's or some shit. They got an auto manufacturer. They're every fucking industry you can think of. They have it.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 sponsors on their website, dog.
21 sponsors on the damn website. And you used to have 10, 12?
And their home jersey has 3 main sponsors on the front.
That's what I'm saying. So is this someone said the rumors about Angelica Fuentes and the case, so they can't show that they're making too much money or some bullshit like that? Someone doesn't want to break the story because it just doesn't add up. Every year your sponsors go up, and then you're still broke.
When I used to bring it up to the guys, they used to get mad at me. They would block me. They would say that I was trolling. I'm like, no, dude, it's something that doesn't add up. Algo no cuadra, But Chivas is house poor. The Vergara's they're house poor. Because to me, it doesn't make sense.
That is the perfect way to describe it. Yeah,
it is. I mean, it does not make sense. Because you have one of the most...
The number of sponsors?
What's that?
But it's not... No one's saying... They're talking about 21 sponsors, but it's not also how many sponsors, but how much. How much money do they get? Because one of their biggest sponsors, Akron, was only getting about $1 million a year. That's peanuts. That's peanuts.
You have to consider this, okay? All right? And I've mentioned this. I don't want to make a huge story about this.
Yeah.
But, okay, when you consider that they're one of the most popular teams in Liga MX, in the continent, okay, in terms of attendance, in terms of the sponsors that can attract both in the U.S. and in the Mexican market, the U.S. market and the Mexican market, okay, and then the TV deals. But the thing that for example, what happened, when the Vergaras took over Chivas, right? The Sede Guadalajara, the nonprofit one, right? They had a lot of assets. In fact, I think they sold one asset for $60 million, right? One of their casa clubs, and I believe those ended up being condos, right? So, and I remember I had mentioned to you that what they were doing was illegal, because what Vergara and his partners did was that they started the Chivas de Corazón Sociedad Anónima. So they basically became a for-profit company. But the thing about it is, the assets that Chivas had belonged to the nonprofit la Sociedad, what's the name, the Asociación Civil. So the thing about it is, and I remember I was reading about this, that because technically, I mean, just for the sake of argument, we'll just consider it a nonprofit, right? So the assets those assets should have gone to basically the socios, okay? But what the fuck did Vergara do with the money?
Well, he never
don't
really
know.
he never. Well, this we do know. Well, one, he never had the money to buy the club. Second, he built a stupid stadium, man. He should have never built the toilet bowl.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. The way the law works, because it was a Asociación Civil, so basically a nonprofit. If they were going to sell assets, that had to go public, and basically it had to sell public, and it had to basically, whatever they sold it for, the money had to basically pay off all the debts, and then whatever was left over had to go back into the state, and then after that there was basically the owners had to basically almost like fight to get those assets back, right?
That's the other thing. They most likely did pay off debts because that was why Chivas was sold.
They need that Bimbo money. You need to get that Bimbo money back.
I've always
that was their last big sponsor from.
I maintain, and until you prove me otherwise, I'm always going to believe it. That what he did is that he used the socios' own money to pay for them. You know.
You mean from? Yeah, to an extent, I think it's true, but I think that was money that they weren't going to get. That was money that if they got, they had to put back in the club. And with this guy buying it, now they get to keep that money. So because that's a lot of socios that sold, and if you're making money, why would you sell even for that amount? It just doesn't make sense.
Let me cut you guys off, but I mean, like, your original point was not what happened 15, 20 years ago. The original point is that the sponsorships keep going up, and understand is how much they pay, but obviously your sponsors are not going to keep going up if your brand keeps getting weaker and weaker, or Amazon Prime's not going to come knocking on your door and give you.
It actually looks bad if you have that many sponsors. But here's the thing. You need to have at least 2 or 3. You don't need to look like NASCAR and have like 50. So that's the other thing where we're gonna, like when Chivas had the TV deals, and then people thought they were getting less money because they were like in 5 different TV stations. If you have one, it's more exclusive, so it's worth way more.
So here's the thing. What happened 15, 20 years is still affecting the club now. Because if you're always robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's a constant cycle, it's no reason why the club is not financially strong. And for the life of me, like I said, I can't understand a team so popular that can attract a lot of fucking sponsors and stuff like that. How they're still struggling. I get that the Mexican player in the Mexican market is more expensive. That they whereas teams like America, Toluca, Cruz Azul, they can get cheaper players from abroad, right? But if you think about it, when the Vergaras took over in 2002, 2003, they were on the right path till about 2006 when you guys won the title, right? Okay, but then you started noticing other things, like for example, they get they go buy the club in Costa Rica, they go buy their own plane. And they started to basically
start flying players to Colombia for mental exercises.
They flew Boca Juniors. The players for Boca Juniors for an exhibition match.
Really?
So yeah. So that's the point that I was trying to make, and it's like it seems like Vergara's strategy was to fake it until he makes it. Like that saying. But I don't think he ever made it.
No, he didn't.
I don't. No, and I think that they've been constantly struggling because it's just a classic case of robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're just carrying on that cycle, And
I'm sure Amaury wants to sell, but he promised his father he wouldn't. But I'm sure he wants to get rid of this club.
Well,
He wanted to be a movie producer. He didn't care about soccer. Real quick, I'm gonna go to the YouTube comments. Disco Fever, yeah. Thanks for hopping on. Says, if we can't even get out of the group stage, who the fuck are Mexican players to expect us to move straight to a UCL club? Brings up a good point. He also said, our players need to move to Europe as young as 17, 18, not 27.
That is true. The problem is at 27 is when in Mexico we refer to him as a young prospect.
Yeah, 20.
That's not true either. There's a lot of players that moved at that age and came right back. You just don't hear about them. So I don't know why we think that it's just, if you follow this path, it's very linear, right? A, B, C. You leave at 17 and go to Holland or some fisherman league. You get spotted. It's like the fairy tale. I don't know why you guys keep falling for that shit. And there's a lot of proof, a lot of players that you guys can Google and see that they just got sent back. It's like Jaime said it. If you're good, you'll get spotted. If you're really good, you get spotted and taken over there. You don't have to do all those hurdles and jump through all those hoops.
I can't think of one player that's like, oh no, like he was so good and he got no offer from Europe and he ended up staying in Liga MX. Like, what player is that?
Yeah. But Vela, look, for example, Gio and Vela. Their dad made a club. Not Gio and Vela. Gio and Jonah. Their dad made a club, and they played I think the Dallas Cup. And that's where they got spotted by Barcelona as youth. They didn't have to do all that shit, you know. It's because the talent. That's what the talent scouts are doing. They're trying to find the next gem. So if they see that you have that, they'll come and get you. And I'm not saying, like, if you want to try it as a player, you want to go through all that, you want to experience, that's fine too. But for the media and even fans to have these expectations that it's going to work out a certain way, it's just very unrealistic. It's not really, and all the proof is there of the countless players that have gone and then got sent back. Who was that one kid, Traffic Gorge?
Who?
His name was like Traffic Gorge or something like that. He was like from Tecos, and everyone was like on his nuts. Now no one knows exactly. Ron, you know who I'm talking about?
Warch?
Yeah, it was like
Taufik
Warch. Taufik. It's Taufic.
Not sure. But I remember a brilliant Pablo Barrera having a really good Copa Oro and making the move to was it West Ham? And did not turn out well. Even Aquino, man. Aquino went out there.
Choked. Man, what the bitch.
So Aquino went to Villarreal when they were in the second division, and then he got them promoted, and then he
left.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
The Tigres money is too good. You know,
it's way too good, bro.
But he was already fucking up. I remember when he was like losing a spot on the team, and he got left out of not even the starting 11 of like the 23.
That's why I applaud Guardado, man. I applaud him because he went to Bayer Leverkusen and flopped. And that could have been it. He could have just went, all right, let me get my paycheck and go back to Mexico. But he stuck it out there.
Same thing at Valencia. He flopped there too.
I forgot he was at Valencia.
Yep, he was no good.
That's why he got the loan to Bayer, right?
I think it was the other way around, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he was at Valencia, and then he got loaned out to Bayer. Yeah, that's what happened.
That's the mental part, you know. Some of the guys have it, some of them don't. They can't hang being away from everyone. They know. It's
pretty hard, man. Like, not to dip my toes on the other side, but one of the things that Christian Pulisic said was that the American Federation did a really good job at surrounding him with like sports psychologists and other people like that when he was out there on his own in Germany, and just kind of what it's like to be far from home at a young age and just struggling with it.
Wow, I did not know that after he flopped at Valencia, he went to PSV and was included in the year's Ballon d'Oro long list.
He was so good at PSV. That's where he became a midfielder. He went from winger to wing back to midfielder, and he was just killing it. And you know who first did that? Piojo put him in midfield for the World Cup 2014, and then after that we started seeing it at PSV, and I was like, damn, dude, this guy, where has he been at?
Mm-hmm.
And he's so good at that conduit role, and he just rode that for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
One of my favorite players for sure.
You know, we're talking about him like he retired, but I forget he's at León. He's still playing.
Oh, speaking of Leon, a player that we talk about, like, we debuted him at 27, call him young prospects. On the opposite end of that, you got Fidel Ambriz, who went pro at a very young age. He's won like Liga MX title. He's won a Conca Champions title. Like, he's like pretty much completed everything he needs to complete at León.
And he's still there.
Well, not only still there, players like, not players like fans, like for example, Ricardo said, well, he's not that good. Whether he's not that good or he is that good, the question is, how do you have this young Mexican player like, completing all the titles he can win at his club, a starter at a very young age, and like gets zero hype? If he's not that good, then what does it say about all the other young players he beat to get there?
I think he is good, but I think his downfall is that he's not good with the ball. He's like a classic number 6 disruptor. He's not good with the ball, and that's his downfall as far as little Ambriz is concerned.
Okay, will you say Charlie Rodriguez is good with the ball?
He is. He's a sideway passer, but he's good with the ball.
He's good with the ball. It just depends at the moment. Honestly, Charlie had his moments and does have his moments where he heats up. He's just not reliable.
Will you say Nene Beltran is good off the ball?
No.
Will you say that Charlie Rodriguez and Nene Beltran are superior to Fidel Ambriz?
Hell no.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't understand how a younger guy, like, quote unquote, doing like the ideal career just doesn't get the hype nor gets the chance to be like, how Chiquete went to the Copa America as a 25th, 26th man. How like Fidel Ambriz doesn't get that.
I'm not sure.
Or
there
not
must
just
be
him, like, like it could be like X name. I'm not saying like Fidel Ambriz needs to be on the national
like
team.
Marcel Ruiz.
I'm just saying like youth players are doing the right thing. It's like there's a big disconnect.
Yeah. I think that's a head scratcher. He's 21, so he's ripe. He's ripe for a move.
He just doesn't fit with our plans. Like, we like to play with the ball. Ambriz isn't very good at distributing the ball. It's not too complicated. It's like you have 2, maybe 3 guys that are better at that, and that's why he wasn't called up.
Will you say Edson's good at distributing the ball, or he's better at breaking up plays?
He's better at breaking up plays, but he's better on the ball, as well as Lozano doesn't always play Edson at center defensive midfielder because of that. He likes to put him at center back because he's not that good of a distributor, and that's something that Lozano and many other coaches at the Mexican national team really need.
That's crazy because he does a really good job at West Ham.
It's a double pivot.
Yeah. It's just crazy to think that Fidel Ambriz is 21 and there's a kid who's 5 years younger who's in the Euro final. and carrying his country to that final. By the way, it's crazy, man. It's a completely different ball game, and
Are we sure he's 16 now?
yeah, I mean he's 16, bro.
Okay. He's not a cachirul.
I don't know, man. He looks 18 if you ask me.
But if we want to talk about prospects, we have Alex Padilla at Athletic Bilbao, just got promoted full time to the first team. So we got a player in Basque Country, and hopefully he pans
How
out.
the
He's a
fuck
goalie.
did that happen?
I don't know. He's not even concrete with Mexico, but he is eligible, and we are keeping an eye on him.
Oh, his mom's Mexican.
Yeah, so I hope he pans out, and I hope he chooses Mexico. But he's a guy that we can potentially get that's gonna be with the first team.
That's crazy. He's got to be the only Mexican that has played for Bilbao, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then who else is there? I already said Rubalcaba, who just had a real badass game for Pumas. And then who else had a great game that day was Memo with like a screamer. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he scored it from outside the box, and I was like, damn, where was this during the national team?
Shit, dude.
But those two guys are getting hot, and
Isn't Memo like 29 or 30?
No.
yeah, he is.
Is he?
He is. Yeah, he's old.
Yeah, let's not talk about that guy in the prospect conversation.
It's interesting.
but
he was
look-
at Chivas on loan.
But speaking of that Bilbao kid, I was having this conversation with people the other day. Like, all right, so we could like try to copy the U.S. model. There's a Mexican in every corner of the world. Try to go and find every dual national you can find. They're coming up in like through Real Madrid, Barcelona, whatever the fuck you want to say. At the end of the day, you want to fill your national team with those players that are seeing you almost like their domestic product sucks, so I'll just go to them so I can go to a World Cup. And because let's say they're like Mexican and Spanish or Mexican and German, like I'm not gonna get called up by Germany, I'm not gonna get called up by Spain, so let me go with Mexico. Because at the end of the day, it's like a World Cup. At the end of the day, it's like national pride. If you're not, I just feel like if you're not emotionally invested into the country, into what it means, I just don't see the results like being even much better than as if you were to play with maybe less talented players, but that actually like feel the jersey, that actually have the pride. Like Oscar Wally, like from Chivas. Like if Mexico called them up, I think that dude like be asking like the ball boy, like, yo, what's the Spain score? Like, are we up? Like, I don't think like even though there's quote unquote better prospects out there, you seriously think like you'd be better off if guys are not invested into the team, like from a heritage roots point of view, like actual love for it?
I'm looking up this Rubalcaba guy. Interesting. He was born here in the States, San Bernardino.
Ocho.
And he played in the second division in Belgium last year. Like on loan.
Yeah, he flopped, and he's back, and he's tearing it up. Who knows why he came back? But I'm glad because he was looking good.
Yeah, he got loaned out to Pumas Tabasco, which is like Pumas' like minor league or second division team, and then he went on loan to the reserve side of Standard Liège, which is the Belgian team. So now he's back and scoring goals at Pumas, and he's 22, so he's still some life in him. Still got a chance to pan out.
And then in other news, we have Monterrey's Berterame, and he's now a Mexican citizen, and he's shown interest in representing us.
I'm sure he does. He wants to go to World Cup.
He does, and there's no way.
Yo, he's good though.
He's
Like,
another.
let's be honest.
He's another. What's that guy's name?
Mori.
Funes Mori.
Fallas Mori.
That's what I'm saying, man. You want to fill your team with those kind of players, even if they do have a Mexican connection. I don't know.
The thing is, who else do we have?
It's not who else do you have. It's like, what can you do to improve your product at home?
At this point, we'll take anyone that is doing really, really well. It doesn't matter if they.
So then why does perceived nationality matter? And the reason why I see perceived is because legally he is a Mexican citizen. So therefore, why are you putting that caveat on him?
If that's all we can do, if that's the best we can do, then I guess go for it.
But that's even like worse. Like the best you can do is like hope that the guy that some club signed as a foreigner 5 years ago stays here the 5 years, becomes a citizen.
Isn't that what the rest of the world's doing though? I mean, if we were to put
not really. I mean, majority have been in the country since kids. Majority are like Santis. They're like Santis.
You look at these some of these national teams, especially in the Euros, man. If they were to play for the country that they were born in or originally from, we'd be looking at the African Cup of Nations, bro.
No, I'm talking about like people not raised in the country. Like I'm talking about like, you know, like I got no Santi Jimenez. He was like raised in Mexico. I'm talking about like the Basco kid from Bilbao. Like if you call him, like, man, hopefully he becomes like the Mexico like starting goalkeeper. Like, and has like zero like actual emotional investment into the country. Like, I don't know. I just feel like when it gets tough, I'm not sure if that's the guy.
I know Joel's still hoping that Luca Romero switches to Mexico.
Exactly. You know, that's the kind of guy I wouldn't want on the
team. We got a shout out from Isa. She's in the YouTube chat. Everyone say hi. But proceed, Joel. Proceed.
I gave up on that long time ago, man. Long time ago in doing, like, looking for players and kind of with the U.S., you know, searching under every nook and cranny for some sliver of talent. I think, and it's a lot with even Habibi said, you know, a lot of those players, they're not gonna have that love for the jersey. They're not gonna die with it, you know. And I prefer those players that grew up wanting to play for, that was their dream, you know. Because I think those are the type that will just fight to the very end. And I think it's something we've seen with the U.S. as well, where their team is just not all there, you know. And I remember reading this story when Klinsmann was coach, how in the locker room you would hear more German being spoken than like actual English. And it's sort of like, you know, it's like, it kind of shows you, and I don't know too much about their current team, but it's sort of like, I think it's all players that grew up outside of the U.S. and for what their expectations are from here, they haven't been able to meet them. They haven't even done better than you had sides that were mostly MLS players, and those dudes were able to, you know, pull out like bigger wins.
Lost a lot. Sorry, guys. Yeah, no, like you lose a lot of identity. Like that was the thing. They lost a lot of identity as to what it means to like really hold your colors. And like I guess that's the difference between like Uruguayan players and certain South American players that know what it actually means to wear the shirt, right? To actually put on the kit and fight for club and country. And I guess these new kids, these fucking Bryans, just aren't really getting that anymore.
So, to add on to what Joely was saying, that I never agreed with that. Meaning, like, you know, because if you think about it, how many naturalized players? I mean, Mexico's already tried to over 20 now. And you know, when Javier Aguirre opened up the floodgates in 2002 World Cup, right, when he brought in Caballero, I think up until that point Mexico had like 8 or 9 in its history, right? And we've had a lot more since. And there is no magic wand. There is no quick fix into this, right? And if you notice the teams that win the World Cups, historically, and even into going into the modern game, it's usually because there's a base of play. There's a base that usually play for one or two teams, and you establish that core group, right? And then you're basically just plugging the holes as to what are you missing, and like whether it's Germany, whether it's Spain and stuff like that, Germany using players from Bayern Munich or Barcelona, and whatever it is. I still think that for Mexico to be competitive, it's gotta have a competitive league, and right now we don't have it. You know, maybe we do, but we don't know because we're not testing ourselves against other opponents. But in terms of like finding that core group of players, it's hard right now to find that core group of players even in Liga MX because it's these championship teams. They get disassembled after 2 seasons.
Well, we had let's look at the facts. We've had Atlas win a bicampeonato. Were they ever the foundation of the national team? And now you have America winning back to back. Have they been the foundation of the national team? No, because they play with all foreigners.
Well, that's true. But even in some cases where, even in some cases where you have a lot of Mexican players, from even to the title that America won in 2018 to now, the team doesn't. It's a completely different team. And 2018 is not really that long ago.
Kind of is.
No, not
6 years ago.
I mean, if these guys were basically 23,
you know who you're talking to? In his mind, it's not that long ago. Come on, bro. These are examples from 20 years ago.
Yamal was 10 years old. Right?
Real quick, there's a comment
we're talking 6 years, dude. So if you think about it, if these guys were 22, 23, they're reaching 30 years old right now. And that's
2 World Cup cycles. That is a good amount of time.
No, come on, dude. You're 22, 23. These players, if they're already now established players like a Diego Reyes or whatever. I mean, imagine if we didn't have the exodus of play. Imagine if we still had it at 5, the cap at 5, and we didn't have a lot of players going to Europe we have in the past couple years. We don't have that base play. We don't have that base anymore. We don't.
Real quick, Armando Broncas, love that name. Thanks for your contribution on the YouTube chat. He says, emotional connection to the national team. Ask Neri Castillo.
I agree. To the amarillistas that are against it, I just want to say, el mexicano nace donde le da la gana. And this guy Padilla, through his mom, he was born Mexican in Basque country.
I'm not saying he's not Mexican. I'm just saying, like, for example, Chiquete, he grew up with Chivas. Find childhood pictures of him in the Chivas jersey. Kate Cowell probably had no idea who Chivas was up to like 2-3 years ago or whatever. So when the Clásico comes and they ask, what does this game mean? I wholeheartedly believe Chiquete when he says, like, we don't want to lose. I honestly believe that when he was growing up in Guadalajara and Chivas lost to America and they told him, decimos birria and bullshit like that, it pissed him off or like it make him cry. I don't know. Like, I'm just saying that passion that's going into that game that I know is going to be on there. I'm not saying Kate Cowell's not going to be passionate. I'm not going to say that Kate Cowell doesn't care if he wins or loses. At the end of the day, he's a competitor. He wants to win. I'm just saying that little extra, I'm expecting more from the guys who grew up in that environment. Same thing with the other guy. He's a competitor. He's a professional. He doesn't want to lose a game. If he plays for Mexico, he's going to try to win every game. I'm just saying that little extra, you probably get it more like from Arangel, who grew up in Mexico his whole life, or the guy from America. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, but their goalie. Like, you're probably gonna get that little extra more from the guys who actually grew up in the environment. No one's saying they're not Mexican. No one's saying they're not good enough. It's just saying you focus more on creating players that are raised in the environment that there's actually emotionally invested.
Look,
Like Di
this is what
Maria.
I'm.
Di Maria basically announced his retirement today, and he said, "I don't know what's gonna happen in the final, but I can promise you that I was not always there for the national team. He's his injuries. When I was there, I did everything for my country. He didn't say the jersey. He said my country, and I like basically gave my whole body
Facts.
to Argentina. And when you hear Di Maria say that, you believe that he probably played through injuries, played through pain, as opposed to like maybe like an Argentino that probably spent his whole life in Spain, and now they're calling him to play over here. It's just not the same.
Look, what I will say out of
Yeah.
all that is that when you start doing those things, you end up with a player, with a pocho, that at the end of a liguilla will look straight at the camera and say, it was a good 3 points today.
Exactly, because he didn't even grow up in the fucking league environment. He doesn't even know the system of the league, but you're expecting him to be all passionate about a derby. Same, it translates to the national team as well. Like watching a pinchy guy from Trinidad and Tobago or Costa Rica, where there was like break Cuauhtemoc Blanco and that game, and then you know what the World Cup qualifiers mean. It's saying like they were talking about like all the guys coming to the U.S. national team. They probably thought, "Oh, we're going to Honduras. Who the fuck's Honduras? Never heard
I
of
don't
them."
know,
Oh, we're
dude.
going
You
to
know
Like,
what? I'll give you one that reckons a lot closer. Watching Luis Montes wreck himself before a World Cup.
exactly, man.
I don't know if we're ever gonna see that colmillo anymore and national pride anymore in modern football. And the reason I say this is because the game has changed. Players now have a lot of control, a lot of influence. They can market themselves. They have the internet to do that. They have their sponsorships. They can, cut side deals. So the glamour and of representing your country, yeah, there are still some players that have that pride. But I mean, you talk to modern football players nowadays, they're more excited about their club career. And I mean, you're seeing this across the board. Look at Brazil and the embarrassment they've been for quite some time. A lot of those guys are doing really great in their personal lives. I even look at Neymar. Neymar is a classic example, man. This guy, he doesn't care about the national team. It's just the game has changed. And I don't know if we're going to find players like the ones that I grew up watching. Emperador Suarez, we had Luis Hernandez, Cuauhtemoc. We're not going to have those type of characters anymore, that type of leadership anymore. It doesn't exist.
No, I mean, most likely you're right. I do think that, club is the biggest thing right now because that's what kind of gives you like more fame. Like, for example, if you're
Yep.
Brazilian, you're Brazilian. Like, it's already on you. Same thing, if you're like Mexican or whatever, but you can like sort of like quote unquote scale up club wise. You can't scale up, nationality wise. So, that's the thing. They just want to take that to their advantage. But I still think like what I'm saying is not like as crazy. Like, for example, Lamine Yamal, yeah, he's his dad's Moroccan, his mom's like from Africa or whatever. He was born outside of Barcelona. Like he grew up in Barcelona. So I have zero doubts that the kid feels the Barcelona jersey, that he feels like the Spanish like Spain pride or stuff like that. That's what I'm just saying. Like I would prefer players are born into like the system.
Oh, we lost you there, Al Pastor, but
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Sorry, I will.
Go ahead.
You know what? I'll come in because I'm over here on mute talking como pendejo. ¿Verdad?
That's that chemo, bro. You smelling that fucking cement?
It's that gas, my dear good sir. Pero no hay pedo. Look at like to riff off of what he was saying is like he grew up in Spain, like living through the Euros, get those world championships. Shit, he saw titties out in the streets and probably got a blowy. Like, well, no, he's too young, but he
Oh
saw
my
titties out in the
god,
street.
bro.
He's like 16.
No,
but he
bro,
lived
no.
through those times. Like those were the times that shaped him.
Bro.
You know?
The only action he got was Messi in a bathtub.
Damn.
Yo, bro. That's too much Epstein. Stop it.
Yeah. I don't know,
But
dude.
like,
I just think that the modern game has changed, and again, it's like these players are suiting up for the national team towards the end of their club season. It's like, great, another couple more games, and You see it, man. The fatigue, the exhaustion of playing 100 games a year. It's just like the national team. I think like that type of like player and that type of like attitude and pride is slowly fading away. You do have players like James Rodriguez who like their whole career is their national team. Giovanni Dos Santos, one of those guys. But for the most part, dude, it's like my club career is, and that's the most important thing for me.
So I just want to respond and say that it's a two-way street. Here we are complaining about players not loving or respecting their clubs like the days of old, but nowadays clubs aren't respecting or investing in the youth, in the young Mexican player. So I mean, it's a two-way street. The fact of the matter is that clubs would much rather buy 10 foreigners than invest in or give a break to a young starlet or prospect, because it's a lot cheaper. There's economic incentives, and so I just want to say it's a two-way street. We're not seeing it because, in part, clubs have failed the upcoming generation.
Well, I think not so much the clubs, but the league system in Liga MX, because there are a lot of clubs that do invest. Atlas, America, Chivas, Santos, Pachuca, all of those clubs, Pumas even to a lesser extent. So there are the clubs there, but it's a very short season where it's like then Liguilla format, and that makes it more difficult. And then just that you could have so many foreigners, it just that kind of killed it for the youth at that point, where you see less, because it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always the way it is now, and they make it out to be with the media. Marquez started young. I've said it before. What was his name?
Yeah, but one of the
damn.
things is, man, we have to recognize that the clubs have failed the youth players because they refuse to let them go. It's kind of like
tampoco.
no,
How do you
también, güey.
refuse to let
No, but I
someone
would
go?
say that like
You're not
can't use
holding
the
them
league as an
hostage.
excuse. You could use the league as an excuse, like a few years back, because you had like the censo. So like there's something you could like
The census was
lose like
fake,
a lot
dude.
of
Come
money.
on, that
But right
didn't
now, like
exist.
you have no descenso, and like 12 out of 18 teams have a chance to moving on
Yes,
to
but
the
you need to
playoffs.
make liguilla. But you need liguilla
Yeah, that's
for
what I'm
the
saying.
paycheck.
12 out of 18.
We need Copa MX.
I'm not saying like
we need
take
a
a
bunch of other
random
things
kid
too.
and just give him minutes to give him minutes. But I'm saying like out of all like the youth academy players you have, you're telling me there's not one good enough that could potentially fill a role on the first team? If there's not, then what the fuck are you doing with all those kids? You cannot find one. I'm not even talking like starter. I'm talking like to the bench. Like you can't find one that you can bring onto the bench, and when you need a sub for the final 10, that he can't hang 10 minutes.
Yeah, but
Like, just throw the whole
agree.
system away. Throw your whole academy away at that point.
I agree, and I just want to revisit what Joel was saying, that it's not on the clubs, but it's on the system. But I just want to ask Joel, if it's not on the clubs and it's on the system, who's the invisible hand that guides the federation and thus the league and the system?
the club owners.
Exactly. So I mean, the Ouroboros snake, like eating itself.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, it's not the clubs, but they're the one who run the federation and the system. Then it's the clubs.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. Like they put money, and then they have players, but then it's like such a closed system that very few can get playing time, and then even the few that get playing time is not enough, to aid in their development. It is a shit show, but like I said, the Pachucas and some of these teams, they do play them pretty young. Chivas has also debuted many young players recently. They've been, we just not seen them to that level of a Yamal. So now it's like it always seems like there isn't anything there. But yeah, yeah, you're right. The whole thing about the owners, and then the fans too. They like that system, so we keep buying into it. I don't know, but you guys, you guys love Liguilla. I don't like Liguilla. I don't like the short tourney and two champions every
Bro,
year.
you know Chivas would never win another championship if it wasn't for short seasons.
They would. I think they would, especially if it's every 10 years.
I haven't seen Chivas be in first place in the regular season in a long time.
But look, Pastor said it a few podcasts back. He said there's so many champions you forget who won it.
Copy MLS. Make it a long season, but you still have your 12 out of
we have that, dude. It
12 out of 18
sucks.
make it.
I hate it.
Or like Spain,
I mean, that's why
just
MLS
separate
can
the two
afford to
things
play a lot of
completely.
younger players, man, because they have like a 35-game season. But they have what, like
We need
20,
to do
29 teams and 14 make it to playoffs, or 18? No, 18 make it to playoffs.
Whatever the MLS
28.
is doing, we should do the absolute opposite of that. Thank you.
Hey, man, their youth players are getting minutes, and they're selling youth players abroad.
You know, I would call for us to emulate Spain, Copa del Rey, and then the league. You know, and then incentives for winning each. You know, and then there you go.
Yeah.
They did talk about for like
another thing in Spain is like they take those European tournaments very serious because they don't get shit in the TV deal. So like you have like the Sevillas of the world that treat the UEFA Cup like it's the goddamn World Cup.
As it should be.
we don't have that here. We don't have that here, dude. What do we got over here? CONCACAF and the Leagues Cup?
Yeah, so sip your shit, say thank you, and put some fucking effort into it.
There's no incentive.
There's some monetary incentive, bro. Like the paycheck.
Bro, how much does the Leagues Cup winner make? Because I'm pretty sure it ain't.
Actually,
shit.
we talked about this last year. No, dude, it's a hefty fucking penny.
I don't believe it. I think you make more money having a Partido Molero in San Jose or whatever than you do the earnings from the Leagues Cup. And I remember that was one of the things that was criticized about the Leagues Cup is like the incentive was not that great.
Money. Clubs lost money during the League Cup last year.
Clubs lost money. You gotta stop sniffing that freaking cement, bro. It's bad for your health.
But they said that the long-term goal, like they were in for the long haul. That this was an investment over like a 10-year period. So I mean, like I don't know. It sounded like some bullshit, but
it is bullshit.
Who knows?
I just think it's pathetic that we got to stop the league for a month for this thing. It's like just include it throughout the regular season like any other tournament. You know, it's like just sprinkle it in midweek instead of.
That is something that I believe is bullshit. Like, why can't you play both?
Yeah, you should be able to play both.
I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, Mexico once again bent over to the U.S. and was like, here you go. Here's my league. Do whatever you want.
And, you know, these MLS clubs are strolling in great form. They've, you know, their season didn't stop. So, you know, there's going to be that mismatch going into...
Not to mention your travel. Monterrey was, you know, run ragged with the the expenditure and the effects of traveling half the country or the whole country.
Yeah, that's another thing. Go a little bit outside your comfort zone. Why we got to host it in the States? Why can't it be how we do, again, every other tournament? It's like you got one game here, one game over there in the group stage. And it's like, that's just how it rolls, you know?
Well, when that was brought up and they pressed like the organizers, whoever it is that's the governing body over it, they said that the reason was because they weren't going to compete with CONCACAF champions.
Oh.
Like that they weren't trying to compete with that. That's why they're not doing a home and an away.
And I'll be honest, if we were to grade the quality of the pitches that we've seen in Copa America, it's been embarrassing, man. Especially for a country like the States. Like, you know, they have the highest standards, and them putting grass over turf is just not... Like today's game,
bad, dude.
Today's game looked like shit. It looked like they were playing on carpet, dude. I'm like, what is this? This is a semifinal. This
Not
is
only
a
does it look terrible,
semifinal.
that's where your World Cup's final is going to be held at the stadium where they play today.
Is it really? They're gonna play in the MetLife?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
That's the
my
World Cup
god.
final.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. I'm surprised more players didn't get injured because of the pitch. I think that I've seen some of these games and it's atrocious. It's disgusting. It looks like they literally put carpet over grass and it's not good.
Yeah, dude, I was looking at it. I was like, why the fuck is there stitching on the grass? And I was like, oh no, wait, it's the fucking like turf. Like it looks absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Messi came out after a game and they asked him, about making the final. He was all talking about, like, have had tough opponents, that the pitch, the travel. Like, he was making it sound like they just play, like, in fucking Peru or something. I'm like, bro, you're like, it's being held in the U.S., and this is how players are referring to it, like if they were playing in the slums.
And you're going back home. Like,
no offense
come
to anyone
on.
from Peru.
I will say, I think they just had some like weird travel, right? Like Miami was supposed to be their home base, but then they had to go to Houston, then they go to New Jersey, now they're going back to Miami. It's like, holy shit, bro, you're like dragging everybody everywhere. The logistics are just not good, and if this is any indication of how the World Cup is going to play, like, we're not ready. We are not ready for a World Cup.
Dude, the World Cup I'm looking forward to is 2030. Just because, like, for example, like the travel aspect, like, for example, it's going to be held in Spain, right? So as opposed to, like, driving, for me, like, in Missouri, as opposed to driving 9 hours to go to Dallas or watch a game, you could drive, like, 2 hours.
You don't
and
even
be,
have
like,
to drive, bro. You take the train.
Yeah, you can take the train and be in Portugal, like,
So,
be in a whole
is
country.
it confirmed that Spain got it? I know that they said that the final's going to be in Bernabeu. But
Bernabeu had the final.
That doesn't answer the question. Is it going to be Spain or
Spain or Portugal?
Spain, Portugal, Morocco?
I have no idea, but still, I don't know about Morocco because it's still close enough. But yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, like travel wise, well, you could travel in the U.S. and still be in the same state. Over there, you could like explore like various countries.
Yeah, because I know that they're all like super near each other. It's the Iberian Peninsula. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We have Liga MX action again, starting on Friday. America and Chivas both play on Friday, so don't make any plans with your wifey, with your girl, with your side piece. It's all football on Friday. We actually have 4 games on Friday: Atlas Tigres, Mazatlán San Luis, America Querétaro, Tijuana, and Chivas. Then we have León Pachuca on Saturday, Necaxa Puebla, Toluca Juárez, Santos Pumas, and then on Saturday, the closing game will be Monterrey Cruz Azul, and that will be it for match week 2 in Liga MX.
Senor, you forgot the most important thing in this entire fucking podcast.
What's that?
Apaga no niños. All right? So remember this. Even a man down, Cruz Azul can still pull out a win. All right? So, no es para que sepan, les van a faltar manos para pelármela.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Huesca. So, like, what's going on there, bro? Because Copenhagen paid his release clause. And
No, they did not.
Oh, okay.
No, they already did. They did today.
They did today?
Yeah, they did earlier today.
Okay, because from what it was that he rescinded his contract.
No, he didn't. He skipped a few days of work.
All right, because the word out was he rescinded his contract and he was gonna leave like that.
Right? Legally, he can't do that. He can't rescind his contract unless
he unilaterally ended his relationship without just cause, is what they said, and it was an illegal termination of his contract.
Nah, that's BS.
That sounds like what Pulido did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Copenhagen gave him the money to pay his own release clause, and It sounds like Cruz Azul's gonna lose this one.
Why would they do that?
No,
Now go directly
that
to
doesn't
Cruz
even make
Azul.
sense. Why would they give him the money
Yeah,
to
that
pay his
makes
own
no, that
release
makes no
clause?
sense. No, that makes sense.
Because it's like I've seen other comment. At the end of the day, any club that signs you, whether both clubs are in agreement or the player's trying to go behind the closed door, nothing's official till you pass the medicals. Like there's been cases of players that show up for the medical, they fail, and they send them back to their club, even though you quote agreed on the transfer. It comes down to the medical. So that's what he did. He took a few days off work, flew out there, passed his medical. He passed it, and today they sent the money. Why would they send the medical? So Cruz Azul has 0 case.
Yeah, they always do the medical first before paying. You're right about that part. But something else was going on because then they would have just mentioned that, you know. And especially if there's talk about the club gave him the money so he could pay his own. It just seems like they're doing something over there to avoid maybe taxes or whatever. Because didn't I forget his name. He went to Russia. He kind of had to do the same.
So let me read this so that we have a little bit more clarity as to what happened with the situation. So Huescas had a release clause, and Copenhagen was going to pay the $2 million in 2 equal parts, July 15th and February of 2025. Cruz Azul did not respond to the offer nor allow the player to travel, and he decided to go anyways. So they're saying that he violated his contract by going to Europe without their blessing, and they have not received a payment.
Man, he didn't violate shit. He did no show, no call.
Is he still? I mean, you're still contracted to, and that was like, dude, are you that poor? You don't have $2 million.
Okay, no, but I mean, what are they going to do? Fine him? End his contract because he didn't show up to 2 practices?
He could, if he didn't pay the release, but you're saying they did not, but let's suppose they hadn't, he would not be eligible to play.
No, but they did. So he flew out, he passed the medical, and they said, they took Cruz Azul, all right, here's your $2 million, no installments. Here's $2 million up front.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Cruz Azul doesn't have a case. I think it's just hurt that they're getting $2 million, knowing that in reality they should be getting 6 or 7.
So I guess the issue, what it boils down to, is he is a Cruz Azul player under contract that left without getting permission from his club, and that's the issue.
Yeah,
that's
but
the issue.
It's not a real big issue, though.
Well, it is if he left before they paid.
Exactly.
You're still employed.
No,
you're not going to go work at another
you
job.
Have a salary job and you skip 2 days of work to go do interview with
to go get interviews. I mean, it can be seen that way. Like, yo, come on, bro. I don't know about you guys, but have you ever signed a non-compete clause? That's pretty much what he did.
Yeah, I mean, you're obligated to fulfill your contract, and
yeah,
I would be rubbed the wrong way if you just fucking called in sick and oh, don't worry, the money's good, it'll be here in a couple of days, and then they tell you, actually, can we have a payment plan?
No, but the opposite happened. They asked for a payment plan, said no, so he flew out, passed the medical, then they sent it to him.
Oh, yeah. Because, what happens? You can't sign a contract if you're under contract, right? That's
No, he can't. They just want to make sure he passed the medical, and he did. So it's all good.
So, now they don't want to release him. So
they
it's
have to.
Well, they have to now. So, all right. So here's the deal. What you're reading, if we're believing what Habibi says, which I always believe someone who tracks down the money and does that type of shit. So if that's what's happening, okay, perfect. But before the old news, before this broke, was exactly that. Was that he had left. He was, it was already done. He was, he apparently went and said goodbye to everyone, went on the record and gave Cruz Azul thanks and all that stuff. And then next thing you know, boom, lawsuit. But it was Cruz Azul saying that, like, it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't filed, it was threatened. It was like, he's not going anywhere until we get the money, and it can reach the point to where we could potentially sue him for this.
Yeah. But let me add just to it and seeing it from, if you're Cruz Azul, right? Let's say he leaves, he's still under contract with you. Let's say he gets injured, right? Whatever stupid reason, doesn't matter. The other club doesn't get him now because he's injured. Now Cruz Azul is stuck with the bill because he's still under contract with them.
Wait, that doesn't make sense, though.
What doesn't make sense?
Okay, so let's say he flew over there while he flew. He fell down the steps and, like, got hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, he could have gotten hurt. Same thing by practice if he would have stayed in Cruz Azul.
Yeah, but you got hurt going to another club, dude. That's the whole
without
thing.
their permission.
Without the man.
That's like you getting hurt while cheating on your wife. Like,
he's
gonna be a little bit mad about that.
Somewhere else. If anything, then I think this makes Cruz Azul look bad because if you're a youth player and
definitely
you follow.
Oh.
You join the first team, you become a starter, and then Cruz Azul comes up to you and says, "Hey, we want to renew your contract. Yeah, we're gonna boost your salary, but instead of having $1 million release, you're gonna have like $8-9 million release." You're gonna be like, "Man, if you made it that hard for Huesca to leave, you're definitely gonna make it hard with me having $8-9 million release." So what they're gonna do? They're gonna follow the other players like what Orbelin did. Not renew and just leave for free.
So what they're complaining about is an illegal termination of his contract. So they're saying I think that they were in the talks of like negotiating a new contract with a higher release clause, and Huescas did not do that, or he agreed to it but didn't sign it, and that was going on. But Copenhagen only wanted to pay the $2 million, and so he basically cut off communication with Cruz Azul, and then Cruz Azul is threatening, legal action. So it's kind of like that Pulido thing where it's like, I need more from you. You're not going to leave for a measly $2 million. You're one of my star players, and I want more, and I'm going to leverage my power to get more.
But didn't Pulido leave for free?
He did.
I think Pulido claimed that he didn't have a contract.
Yeah, he claimed that his contract had expired, but I think it had auto-renewed or something, and that was the issue. I did put it in
the Netflix package.
I put it in the how you can pin tweets on the podcast on Twitter Spaces. So Carlos Ponce de Leon has given some more light into the situation, even showing the statement that Cruz Azul posted both in Spanish and English. And
God damn, they mean business.
Yeah, bro.
They're sending a message straight to Holland.
Yeah. It's crazy that Cruz Azul would post this.
Oh no, bro, Cruz Azul's petty as shit. That's why, like, when it was brought up, I was like, yo, what the fuck you mean? Like, this is Cruz Azul. Like, chingao, ¿cómo se llamó? The coach that helped Cruz Azul win the title, right? Him. He got terminated. Cruz Azul wouldn't pay him his money. He had to take Cruz Azul to court in order to get paid, like, his severances and all that shit. And this is the man who nos ganó la novena.
The Peruvian coach, right?
Yeah, the Peruvian guy, who is also a club legend Juan Reynoso, who's also a club legend for having won with the club in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like it goes deep. Like Cruz Azul are a bunch of fucking scumbags, guys. Like we move shittily, and like there's power struggles in between. There's money laundering. Like it's a great fucking novela. If you're watching from any angle, you just have to pay attention.
I don't know if you guys know the show The Office. There was a episode where Andrew was selling his car, and Dwight like convinced him to sell it to him for cheaper because he like pointed out all these issues, and then he ended up getting a great deal on the car, and then immediately posted it for like double the price that he paid. And that's exactly what Copenhagen has just done. They got him for $2 million and then immediately put a $10 million dollar release clause on his ass.
Which thing is already opening the coin purse. I think there's one important thing here that we shouldn't overlook, and it's the fact that he had that release clause and he was able to go. And it's something that, because we always talk about the clubs, cock blocking and all that, but I've said it's up to the players. When you negotiate your contract, you get that, and then if you want to leave or you really want those Euro teams to come in, well, then you just made it easy for yourself. But if you would have taken that more money, you really can't blame Cruz Azul for then having a higher release cost, because they're investing a lot of money in that player. He's worth more to them. So you at that point you can't blame them. So I just saying, like, a lot of times you see a lot of fans and media always blaming the clubs, but it's the players. It's up to you. It's your contract that you're going to negotiate, and if you want to go abroad, there is those release clauses, and we've seen them.
So I don't know about investing a lot of money, because basically, let's say let's say he was on a rookie contract, and all the rookies had like a release clause of like $2 million. They're the ones who fucked up and fumbled their own bag by not renewing him. The second the coaches saw that he was become a first team player, and he was gonna become a starter, right away they should have pressured him to play dirty ball. They signed this contract, $8 million release clause. Your pay's going up. If you don't sign it, then you're going to the bench. You're going back to the academy.
They tried
exactly
pleasuring him.
I just posted the official statement by Cruz Azul.
Yep.
And basically they were in a 10th month negotiation process, and they're saying that Huesca's agents or representatives had accepted the deal.
Shit.
But they're not. They don't state that Huesca signed it. So I think that's where the issue is, where he made it appear that he was going to go ahead and extend and improve his contract. And then they're basically saying that he negotiated in bad faith.
Yeah.
So I don't think Cruz Azul has a real foot to stand in.
Nope.
Man,
no, they're just trying to bind him up.
Les pintaron la cara, dude. He said, yeah, just get him off his back.
And I said this on the DMs, bro. R.I.P. his career with the national team, because you best believe they still have the Pacto de Caballeros. I don't care if it's not.
But it's not.
He is absolutely not getting called up by Jimmy Lozano anytime soon.
Did something similar, and he came back, was part of the national team.
I'm just saying.
He did something similar. He came back to the national team.
I'm just saying, bro. You're not going to see him getting called up anytime soon.
It's not. No, Pacto Caballeros is not. See, that's where the media.
Bro, you don't think Cruz Azul is going to complain to the other owners? Because if that happened to Cruz Azul, that can happen to any of the other owners. So they have to stand united and say, we're going to make an example out of him.
They should have had him.
We're going to make an example out of Huescas. If any other player tries to pull this shit, he's not going to get called for the national team. You're telling me they're not going to have that conversation? They did that with Alan Pulido.
No, the Pacto Pulido came back.
After Chivas paid off all those fucking fees.
No, I think you're giving Cruz Azul too much power.
Yeah.
Cruz Azul does have a lot of power.
When I look at Cruz Azul, I tell them, I didn't let Diego Lainez leave for $1 million or $2 million. He left for 15. I didn't let Edson leave for $2 million. He left for 15. Do that pendejates and you lost your player. That's your fault.
Yeah.
That is true. That's why I'm not even mad about it.
Yeah, the pacto is basically within clubs that we're not going to snap up players like that. So let's say it was Pachuca negotiating, like let's say instead of Copenhagen, it was America that had done that to steal the player. That's basically the pacto, that they wouldn't do something like that. They just wouldn't snatch a player that because their contract ran out. That's
gentleman's pact is about the expiring contracts. If a player decides to not extend his contract, there was an agreement, an unspoken rule with the other owners of the clubs that, hey, this guy not allowed to sign for any other club in Mexico. So
Well,
I honestly think Huesca's just like shot himself in the foot.
It wasn't so much like you're not allowed to sign. It was more sort of like you can't take him for free.
Yeah.
And because if the contract had expired, then you would still give the club some money. So obviously it would have been less now, but that was their whole thing.
Yeah.
So that and Europe was doing the same thing. They had the pacto as well.
I just think that Huescas will be reprimanded. And because, like, let's be honest, he's not going, like, he's going to get away with it. Legally, he's going to get away with it. Like, Copenhagen is going to give him a big, a FU and be like, sorry, man, we did our part. We paid you, like, suck it, But I think there will be repercussions from this.
No, he's not. If he comes back, he's gonna get that bigger paycheck that it always.
If he comes back, I'm just saying right now, he goes to Europe. What happens if he has a great career in Denmark and then he's not getting called up from the national team because of how he left?
Then David Faitelson eats for another 5 years.
It depends how he comes back too, right? And like I said a lot of times, when the players that leave that come back to big contracts, these players that were already going to have a pretty big contract.
I'm just saying, you guys are all celebrating like, yeah, he's going to Europe. I'm like, well, guess what? He's going to have a solo career out there because he's not going to get called up for the national team.
Oh, I think he will.
No.
Why wasn't he at Copa America?
Get called up to the national team now, even if he starts off well. Because he already wasn't being called up to the national team, even at Cruz Azul. He was getting called up to the U23 team.
Yeah,
so that's what you're talking about. He was, but yeah, you're right.
That would be the excuse. Like, he was with the U23 team. I already got my guys. I got Antuna, I got Vega, I got Diego Lainez, whatever. Like, even though he's doing well in Denmark, I still already got my guys. But if he does well in Denmark and then he jumps to a bigger team, bigger league, and does well, they're not going to ignore him. If he's doing well at West Ham, at Sociedad, they're not going to ignore him.
What's that, Rifalo?
He basically lost his spot on the national team to Brian Gonzalez, the right wing back for Pachuca.
Uh-huh.
And so, he just wasn't good enough to make the final cut. Not yet, at least. I have high hopes for him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, how this will play out. But I've already seen this play out with Alan Pulido, and how he, went to Greece and then was absolutely erased from the national team until he made good with the mafia.
Pulido, the whole time Pulido was in Greece.
He wasn't even allowed to play.
He went 2 years.
Yeah, he
got 14 games in 2 years, and they sent him to a second division team.
So what happened is that the legal case it began. So they played him until the case began, and then they froze him out of fear of the repercussions. So those 14 games you're talking about happened before the hammer came down on him.
That's how many he played though.
I mean,
there's a whole 2 years though.
I mean,
I know, but I'm saying
2 years is not a lot.
That's right, but then why are you going to be getting called up to the national team?
He wasn't, dude. It wasn't until Chivas paid off all of his dues and made good with the mafia, and they're like, all right.
Smarter.
And he didn't even really get called. I mean, let's be honest. Alan Pulido's national career is very, very short.
I know, but what strikers you had back then that he was competing with? Like Bella, I think, was still playing. And you had some
that's the point. I mean, even if he didn't leave the way he left, if he left under normal contracts to Greece, he was still not getting called up above Bella, Chicharito, Giovanni, Oribe. Like, it has nothing to do.
You're telling me that kidnap was not a coincidence? Come on, guys.
So when he left, it wasn't until later that he turned into a striker. He was playing on the wings for Tigres, for Tuca. And then later he became a striker. So this idea of him competing with our center forwards isn't what was happening back then.
And Tuca went on record to call him a tronco.
that he was a tronco until he fucking put in the extra time to train him.
And he claimed that he debuted him, but it wasn't true.
You know, yo, come on, man. You know that's what old people do. Like, why are you calling out for it like that?
What?
Oh man.
No, but he just that's just my thing. He wasn't like if he would have been tearing up the league and not getting called up, then I would say there's more of a case there for saying that. But not really playing, that just you know, and even after they won, when they had already won the case. That one time they the Olympiacos didn't even sign him up for the Champions League. They left him out of that roster.
Mm-hmm. Well, boys, we're at 3 hours, man. I got to put a bow tie on this. Want to give you guys the platform to have your closing thoughts, maybe your predictions on these semis and potential final if we don't podcast between now and then.
I'll do mine really quick. I've been seeing this meme going around, generational change. It's always like the same picture. They show all the young players and it's always like one or two. That's not really that's like, it's very misleading. And I think if the generational change, they just happen. They're organically. Players get old and they get replaced. So this whole thing with Mex right now not doing it's kind of, I find it dumb, you know. It's either if those players, if you have the players that are very talented, then they make it into the team. But if they're not better than what's there, then they don't deserve to be there just because they're young and because other teams have some young players. I just think that's been confusing a lot of fans lately. But I think you'll see it even with clubs and eventually the national team. When those good players show up, they make it. Gio Vela, a lot of those dudes got called up at a younger age. So, I mean, we just don't have right now young players at that level.
For
that's
sure.
it. That's my.
All right, I'm gonna do rapid fire questions with everybody, starting with you, Joel. Uruguay,
right,
Colombia.
My closing thought
Wait, hold on.
is
Let me do the
whoever wins between Uruguay and Colombia is who I am picking to win the Copa America. Because honestly, against everything in my fiber, I hate Argentina. So I would much rather see Uruguay like hoist the cup over Argentina and just rub it into their faces, or Colombia, who's been playing a pretty impressive style of football. So I am interested to see how that pans out. The UEFA, neta, güey, me rasco un huevo y eso es cuanto me importa. And then lastly, for the league, Cruz Azul is going to come in. I believe we're going up against, who are we going up against? Rayados, isn't it? Yep. So it's going to be an interesting match. I see, man. I want to be 100% real with you. Cruz Azul isn't looking the best. We didn't look that great in the last match. The red card that Cruz Azul earned is a bullshit call. If that's a red card, it should have been a red card for both players, right? Shoving and kicking, going around to where, come on, bro, that's just a good hard game, right? If anything, give them yellows. Give them yellows. It went both ways. Pero no. Oh, also, the VAR setup is a fucking joke. Like, they literally have a screen. They don't have any type of, like, safety around it. The players can walk up to the, like, to the to the official. It's fucking dumb, bro. Like, right? Like, it's such a joke. At a certain point, the commentators during the Cruz Azul match, when they were doing the VAR for the red card, told the ref to move over. Wow. They're like, ref, move over, because you can clearly see the take that they're giving them. And then they're commentating off the take that is being shown to the ref in real time rather than doing the split screen. So it's fucking ridiculous. Right, so it's those type of things. But Cruz Azul isn't looking the most solid in the back. We'll see how it turns out with a not even, I don't want to call them a powerhouse, but with a team that has attacking power. So
okay,
that's it. Those are all my takes. Boom, boom.
Before we go on to the next one. Joel, let me go back. Ask you tomorrow, Uruguay or Colombia? He might have signed off.
No, I'm still here.
Oh.
Damn, that's a tough one, man.
You got to pick one.
Shit, dude. I don't even know, man. I saw that reporter waxing poetic all over James.
Oh my God.
That guy has me believing James could win the whole thing, dude.
All right.
I can see my
I'm going to put you down for
reflection.
Colombia then. I'm going to put you down for Colombia.
No, I can't, dude. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. It could go either way to me. It's a coin toss for me.
I could ask Joel, is the sky blue? He's like, oh, I don't know, man. You know, it could be blue.
Some games are hard to tell, dude.
We
Some
can't.
matches for me hard to.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's look, because I saw a game of I saw I saw U.S. Uruguay and I saw Brazil Uruguay, but I haven't seen a single Colombia game, and I wasn't even thinking of them, with this tournament. So it's hard for me because I haven't been keeping up, but I just from reading shit, I know that they're one of the favorites now. So yeah, sorry to disappoint me, Jaime. I just know whichever team makes it, the final's gonna be good.
All right, Habibi, you're up next.
Talking about all the transfers, Westcast and everything, I brought this up in the group chat. I have been very, very disappointed by the incoming transfers from Liga MX. America's best player, or not best player, most attractive signing was from Pachuca. Also, they signed Aguirre from Monterrey. Cruz Azul best signing was from Atlanta United. Chivas best signing was from Real Salt Lake.
Ugh.
Like the only teams, honestly, was Toluca. Toluca brought in
Gallardo.
a guy from Paulinho from Sporting, and Sporting were Portuguese champs last season, and he had like 15 goals, 5 assists, like in 31 games. Like those are the signings I'm talking about. Signings that you haven't seen in Liga MX before. That you're not trading players amongst the top clubs, and then you have Monterrey. They brought in Oliver Torres from Sevilla. Well, honestly, he's not that great. It's just because he's from Europe, Sevilla. That's the only hype behind it. But that's actual legitimate transfer. Toluca with Paulinho, and then there was Puebla who brought in Deportivo Cali's best player. I'm talking about those type of transfers where you go to Colombia, you get some nobody that he comes up and tears up the league like Jackson Martinez did, and then you sell them crazy money over to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we just trading players? It feels like, what is this, the NFL, the NBA? I like your player. Let's trade players. Let's keep all the same players in the league. It's soccer. It's a global sport. You're not producing academy talent, and now you don't have scouts to go get you a top talent from abroad, from buy low, sell high type shit. The best we can do is just inflate our market and just trade each other players or go take players from the MLS. I've been very disappointed because this is the summer transfer season.
Yeah, he's supposed to be
If
the
you
big
think
ones.
about it, we haven't really talked about transfers coming into the league. And I felt that was a total disappointment league-wise. There's not a lot of... It feels like you're looking forward to the same league from last season. There's not new excitements,
Yeah, Toluca's been making noise. They brought in Uruguayo Bruno Mendes. That was announced today, actually. Habibi, so tomorrow, Uruguay, Colombia.
Man, I said from the beginning, I like Uruguay going all the way. But we already know Argentina's going to win. They're playing at home in Miami. But I think Uruguay wins tomorrow. They should look a lot better, man.
So Uruguay wins, but then they lose to Argentina. Okay.
Yep.
And for the snooze fest tomorrow, Holland and England.
Oh man, that was tough because like you got two professional chokers. It's like who can like choke the most. Like it, like honestly, like, and another reason, something I forgot to mention when we talk about which one's harder to win, Euros or Copa America. I do like the ambience of Euros more, and I don't even talk about the fans or anything. But once you put everything like in historical context, like yo, these guys used to go to war, they invaded each other, they killed each other. Like there's actual meaning, like there's like more of a
Yeah.
meaning to the games, and that's what I enjoy the most. Like today when I was watching the France Spain game, like if you actually like look at the context behind it, you're like, oh, you can tell why these motherfuckers are crying that they're losing. So same
No,
thing.
but
I
Mexico
mean,
you
era
mean for
mío
the
y me lo
fans?
quitaste.
Wait, you mean for the fans? Because I think for the players that sort of like not it's not there anymore.
no, I'm saying it's not there, but like the fans, like you can see like they're
Yeah.
really into it, and they're like, why are they
Oh
so much
yeah,
more?
yeah.
How come we don't have that passion over here? And it's like it's because they
Yeah,
literally
you know,
just had wars, like within.
Remember the Alamo.
Yeah, and then so it's the same thing. On one, you could have England versus Spain. That will always be cool. English versus Spanish, or then a recap of 2010
World Cup
Netherlands versus Spain World
rematch.
Cup.
Yeah.
But either one, Spain's gonna win it because
Yep.
they're gonna face the biggest chokers, the biggest loser. That's who they're gonna face.
Oh,
So
I like it. I like it a lot. Last but not least, Rafalo, thank you for continuously participating on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. I fucking love chopping it up with you guys and disagreeing and agreeing, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to give a quick shout out to my boy Sebastian Cordova, who looks to be fully recovered from his injury in his game against Necaxa. Homeboy created the penalty on the 12th minute, and Guignac converted it. And then around the 50th minute, he had like this banger from long distance, and I'm like, dude, this guy's back. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on him. Hopefully no injuries happen because I think the selección needs him. So he looks like he's fully recovered, and I'm really happy about that. And then I just wanted to say that initially a few episodes ago I thought Uruguay was going to take it, but I think they're gassing out. And Colombia has 27 wins. I mean, 27 games without knowing defeat.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, without losing. And so I think they're still heating up. I think they're going to take it, and I think they're going to go all the way because Argentina is also gassing out, and Messi still has that muscle injury.
Wow, I like it. All Colombia all the way.
Speaking of Sebastian Cordova, you guys see that viral video of the assistant coach going off on them in training?
No.
He goes up to him, he's like, Sebastián, eres como la policía, llegas tarde a todo, because like he was just missing all his tackles.
Really?
I found that shit hilarious. Like, that's an old school coach, going off on the players like that, not treating them like little divas and stuff.
Yeah, he gives me Fresno vibes, but I like him.
He's 27, still young, and in Mexico's under Mexico's eyes, he's still a young lad, still
5 years from his prime.
Still got a long career ahead of him.
He's got stuff that others don't. He can find that pass. He's got that nose for goal from a distance. So I wish he was younger. Yeah, but I also think he was the best player in Liga MX about a year ago.
I think like Lamine Yamal is really fucking up everyone's perspective because this guy is 11 years older than him, and he's still.
Speaking of Yamal and hot takes, real quick.
Yeah.
You guys think he becomes one of the GOATs or he like fades out?
I mean,
quick answer. I think he becomes one of the GOATs.
I think he does too.
I think he's good for this generation. But I don't think we're going to see any. I don't even think he's going to get to half of what Messi and Ronaldo.
Oh shit! I don't know.
Okay, so you're saying he doesn't become one of the GOATs?
Nah,
because like Zidane's a GOAT. I'm talking like one of the GOATs. Like Zidane's a GOAT, Pirlo's a GOAT. Like you don't think he reaches that status?
Nah, because that just doesn't happen, bro. We're all empachados by 15 years of Messi and Ronaldo, but that shit don't happen.
I don't know, dude. I'm looking forward to the Mbappe Lamine Yamal showdown in La Liga. You know, I think that's like gonna remind us of like the Messi, Ronaldo like years. And he's, already he's a teenager and he is on the brink of winning a Euro at like 16, bro. That's fucking
Yep.
crazy.
I mean, I would say don't don't look too much for that because I don't think Barcelona keeps him. I think someone comes and offers 250,
No
300.
way.
Their broadcast as well accepted.
I don't think. I think who they're going to sell is Nestor Araujo. I think they're going to sell him for big money. But I don't think we're going to have the same rivalry because the difference in the squad is night and day. Real Madrid is stacked for days, and they got money to spend still.
Yeah.
I don't think
Barcelona.
Barca can afford to keep Yamal.
It's going to be interesting how it plays out, but I mean, if this guy it's like starting the race at the finish line, dude. This guy is so young, he's already on the brink of winning a Euro, and in 2 years, who knows, maybe Spain will be a favorite to win the World Cup. I mean, he could literally win it all under the age of 20, which is fucking insane. I know Mbappe won a World Cup at what, 18, 19? So
18.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Rifalo, what about tomorrow? Holland, England. Who you got for the Euro?
I straight don't give a fuck. Fuck Euros.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you guys for your participation tonight. Really enjoyed the podcast. I'm glad to be back in the driver's seat. And for those listening, or will end up listening on our podcast, hey, sometimes we have really good conversations and they only exist on Twitter Spaces. So definitely head over there, follow us, keep an eye out for our impromptu Twitter Space conversations. Because sometimes we change hosts, and we have more people that are willing to go on a weekend when somebody can't. So it's like we're always constantly trying to put out content and more episodes and try to catch those reactions right after the game. So we'll try to do something this weekend. Predictions for Copa America: Uruguay wins tomorrow and they win the whole thing. As far as the Euros go, if you have trouble sleeping at night, make sure to tune in for that Netherlands-England game. That shit's going to be a snooze fest. Going to go to PKs. And I think England will go to the final and lose it again. Back-to-back losing Euro finals. I think that would be hilarious. Spain's going to win the whole thing. And as for Liga MX, Chivas going to TJ. They don't really have a good track record there, if I'm not mistaken. So this team does not inspire any type of hope. I'm not really expecting much out of Chivas. Maybe Leagues Cup, they'll try to go for it. We'll see. But we'll have to wait out. That is all we have for you guys tonight. Thank you so much. And of course, our sponsor, Manscaped. Get 20% and free shipping using the promo code Cantina at checkout. All right. Have a good night. Hey, YouTube. Isa, thank you for joining us tonight. Nice seeing you. Armando Broncas, you got to come back, man. It's a funny-ass name, and you had some really good points there. Disco Fever, always can count on you on the YouTube chats.